Chapter 49. According to the guidance of the Hongmeng Dao Seal, Feng Zichen circled around Mount Buzhou. After a few years, he arrived at a place shrouded in fog. Before Feng Zichen could do anything, the Hongmeng Dao Seal automatically appeared in front of him. It released rays of purple divine light and landed on the fog-shrouded place. As if it had met its natural enemy, the fog melted like snow under the purple divine light and disappeared without a trace. A valley filled with murderous aura was revealed. In the valley, strange rocks were rugged and weeds grew everywhere. It was a desolate scene. Wisps of connate murderous aura emerged from the ground and floated in the valley. Looking at the desolate valley in front of him, Feng Zichen was puzzled. He couldn't help but stop in his tracks. This was Mount Buzhou, formed by the spine of Pangu. It was the most sacred place in the primordial world. Why would there be murderous aura? And it was the connate murderous aura that the chaos fiend god carried? After pondering for a moment, Feng Zichen couldn't think of an answer. He decided to investigate the valley. Then he raised his merit spiritual light and walked into the valley with the Hongmeng Dao Seal. As if sensing an unfamiliar aura, Feng Zichen stepped into the valley. The connate murderous aura that permeated the valley suddenly became restless and swept towards him. With a slight tremble, the Hongmeng Dao Seal lowered a hazy purple light and enveloped Feng Zichen. This was the Hongmeng Dao light. It was the light of origin and the light of the great Dao. It could derive and destroy all Dharma. Before the connate murderous aura could reach Feng Zichen, it was blocked by the Hongmeng Dao light. As the two of them were entangled, a sizzling sound was heard. The connate murderous aura was destroyed by the Hongmeng Dao light. As Feng Zichen continued to go deeper, the connate murderous aura in the valley continued to attack him. More and more of it gathered as if there was no end to it. Under such circumstances, even though Feng Zichen had the protection of Hongmeng's Dao light, he still found it difficult to move. It was like a small boat in the ocean, in danger of capsizing at any moment, being overturned by the huge waves and sinking into the sea. Feng Zichen's heart trembled as he watched the Hongmeng's Dao light tremble under the attack of the connate baleful aura. He immediately took a few steps back, intending to leave this place first. Once he thought of a foolproof plan, he would return to this place to investigate. However, just as Feng Zichen retreated, a rock under his feet suddenly exploded. It turned into a thick stream of innate murderous qi and attacked him from the ground. Then, the explosion of the stones seemed to have set off a chain reaction. The pebbles and weeds in the valley exploded one by one, turning into thick connate malice qi that attacked Feng Zichen from all directions. As it turned out, these stones and weeds had been infected by the innate baleful qi day and night and had long since merged with it. Today, after being stimulated by external forces, they exploded one by one, resulting in the current situation that Feng Zichen was facing. Again! The Hongmeng's Dao light flashed and destroyed the connate malice qi that came from the ground. However, before Feng Zichen could heave a sigh of relief, he saw countless streams of connate malice qi attacking him from all directions, and he couldn't help but groan in his heart. At this moment, the Hongmeng Dao Seal seemed to have been angered by the connate malice qi and exploded with unprecedented light. Hongmeng's qi spewed out, creating countless Dao runes that covered the entire valley. It formed a scene that looked like before heaven and earth were created and before Hongmeng was formed. Under the shroud of Hongmeng's qi, the connate malice qi that was extremely arrogant a moment ago was now completely powerless to fight back. In just a moment, it was devoured and assimilated by the Hongmeng's qi. After the connate malice qi was completely devoured, the Hongmeng Dao Seal spun, and the Hongmeng's qi that enveloped the entire valley began to shrink. In the blink of an eye, it shrank into a ball and returned to the Hongmeng Dao Seal's body. As the connate malice qi disappeared, the true appearance of the valley was finally revealed. Empty, a vast expanse of emptiness. The gravel and weeds were all gone, and even the connate malice qi did not exist. Only the pitch-black mountain was left exposed. This valley had been completely corroded by the connate malice qi. Its black color was exactly the same as the connate malice qi. On top of the mountain, new connate malice qi was born. Reaching out to touch the ground, Feng Zichen felt a wisp of connate malice qi rising from the ground and flowing through his index finger into his sea of consciousness, trying to destroy his rationality. Quickly retracting his finger, Feng Zichen activated the Hongming's qi in his body to refine the connate malice qi that had entered his body. Oh my god! This connate malice qi is so strong that it can even corrode Mount Buzhou. Just now, Feng Zichen was certain that Mount Buzhou had been completely transformed into a malice stone and had become the carrier of the connate malice qi. Mount Buzhou was the backbone of the Pangu. Even if it was not as powerful as before, its great Tao was still there, and it was not something that a golden immortal could destroy. Only the Tai Jingxian could leave traces on Mount Buzhou. Even if the Daluo Jingxian came, it would take a lot of effort to destroy such a large mountain like this valley. The fact that the connate malice qi could corrode it to such an extent showed how powerful it was. Just as Feng Zichen was lamenting, the Hongmeng Dao seal paused and glowed slightly, urging him to rush into the depths of the valley. What kind of treasure is there in the depths of Mount Buzhou that attracted the Hongmeng Dao seal so much? Ever since he stepped onto Mount Buzhou, the Hongmeng Dao seal had been unusually active, constantly urging him to go into the depths of Mount Buzhou. Its eagerness was completely different from its cold attitude in the past. Feng Zichen could not help but be curious. Immediately, Feng Zichen released the suppression on the Hongmeng Dao seal and allowed it to fly into the depths of the valley, while he followed it. He wanted to see what kind of treasure it was that made the Hongmeng Dao seal so anxious. The area of the valley was larger than Feng Zichen had imagined. He thought that after walking so far with the connate malice qi, he was already close to the depths of the valley. He did not expect that he was only at the periphery. After a few days, Feng Zichen finally arrived at the deepest part of the valley, where a cliff was. At the bottom of the cliff, there was a deep cave entrance, and thick connate malice qi spewed out from it. Huge cracks started from the cave entrance and spread in all directions, covering more than half of the valley. Wisps of connate malice qi rose from it. This was the deepest part of the valley, and it was also the source of the connate malice qi. Looking at the connate malice qi that had almost turned into liquid, Feng Zichen stood at the cave entrance and hesitated for a moment. In the end, under the constant urging of the Hongmeng Dao seal, he gritted his teeth and rushed in. The Hongmeng Dao seal was his natal dharma treasure, and it was bound to him for good or ill. It would definitely not harm him. Since it dared to let him rush in, it could guarantee his safety. As expected, the Hongmeng Dao seal released a layer of wave-like light, turning Feng Zichen into an illusory form and passing through the connate malice qi. He flew into the depths of the cave. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years. The length of the cave exceeded Feng Zichen's imagination. It was only after more than 100 years that he saw a ray of bright light. The moment he saw this ray of light, the 13 sky-splitting axes in the depths of Feng Zichen's memory suddenly trembled. It was as if it wanted to walk out of the past and step into the present. Chapter 50. It was the light that could split the heavens and earth apart. It was the light of the axe that Pangu had swung. Feng Zichen's vision turned black, and he fainted. 13 streaks of axe light had broken through the seal that he had set and appeared in his sea of consciousness. Feng Zichen could not withstand the power of the axe light and fell into a coma. The Taoist rhymes of the axe light were extremely terrifying. Feng Zichen was only in the mystic immortal realm, and he could not even withstand one, let alone 13 streaks of axe light. If he had not fallen into a coma in time, he would have died under the Taoist rhymes of the axe light. After Feng Zichen fell into a coma, the Hongmeng Dao seal did not stop. It brought him past the axe light, through the layers of void, and arrived at a mysterious place. At this time, the axe light gradually calmed down and returned to the depths of his sea of consciousness. It was sealed by the chaos bead. My head hurts. After an unknown period of time, Feng Zichen was awakened by a sharp pain. He could not help but rub his head and complain. Where is this? After waking up, Feng Zichen realized that he was in a cave. The cave was extremely spacious. There were stalactites of different lengths hanging down from the ceiling, and water droplets were condensed. Divine light lingered below, and there were endless creations. There were also strands of chaotic vital energy in the air. The Hongmeng Dao seal shone slightly, and it reflected what he had experienced after he fell into a coma. It made Feng Zichen understand the cause and effect. This is the belly of Mount Buzhou. After looking through the images that the Hongmeng Dao seal had shown, Feng Zichen was extremely shocked. He did not know the origin of the cave in the Fiend Valley. The Hongmeng Dao seal followed the passage down and actually came to the belly of Mount Buzhou. It was really unbelievable. Then, Feng Zichen was overjoyed. This was the belly of Mount Buzhou, the place where endless creations gathered. There must be treasures that were born here. With this in mind, Feng Zichen hurriedly looked around. After a few steps, he saw a jade pool made of white jade, filled with a milky white liquid. Fortune Origin Liquid. Recognizing the origin of the milky white liquid, Feng Zichen exclaimed and hurriedly ran over. Although the white jade pool was only 3 feet in size, it contained an enormous amount of space. The amount of creation origin liquid inside was simply endless. The Fortune Origin Liquid was formed from the essence of the earth. It contained boundless vitality and could revive the dead. If a postnatal living being consumed the Fortune Origin Liquid for a long period of time, they would be able to transform into a Xianxia living being without the need to cultivate. Such supreme treasures were rare even in the great desolate Aeon. Unexpectedly, there were so many here. Drip, drip. Drops of milky white liquid dripped from the stalactites and gathered at the jade pool. That's right. Mount Buzhou is the #1 divine mountain in the primeval age, where the ancestral veins of the primeval age are located. It's not surprising that the creation origin liquid was born. Seeing this scene, Feng Zichen shook his head, as if lamenting that he was making a fuss over nothing. Then, he took out the chaos bead and kept the pool of creation origin liquid. The white jade pool was formed by the qi of the earth vein and was specially used to hold the creation origin liquid. Unless the entire earth vein was extracted, it could not be taken away. He did not have that ability. After putting away the creation origin liquid, Feng Zichen began to search around the underground cavern again. The fact that he found a supreme treasure like the creation origin liquid so easily gave him great encouragement, thinking that there were treasures everywhere. Unfortunately, he was disappointed. For several days, Feng Zichen did not find anything. It was as if all the treasures here were avoiding him. Seeing this, Feng Zichen seemed to have understood something. He understood that he was not lucky enough and could only obtain the creation origin liquid. The rest of the numinous treasures were not fated with him. After understanding this, Feng Zichen stopped searching for treasures and found an empty space to sit down cross-legged. This place was mysterious and mysterious. He planned to cultivate in seclusion for a while and leave after breaking through to the golden immortal realm. However, Feng Zichen had just sat down. The Hongmeng Dao seal, which had been quiet since its arrival, suddenly moved and slammed into a rock wall. Bam! After a loud bang, smoke and dust flew everywhere, and rubble flew in all directions. The rock wall was cracked by the Hongmeng Dao seal, and a ruler surrounded by purple light fell out. This is... His pupils constricted. Feng Zichen moved closer to take a closer look. The ruler was less than a foot long, and it was surrounded by Hongmeng Qi. There was a faint purple light, and it carried the aura of the great Tao. Countless runes appeared and disappeared on the ruler's body. In the middle, there were 2 large words written in innate divine script: Heaven Measuring. This is the Hongmeng Heaven Measuring Ruler. This treasure was hidden here. The surprise came too suddenly. Feng Zichen felt that his heart was about to jump out of his chest. The Hongmeng Heaven Measuring Ruler was an postnatal merit treasure. It was also known as the best postnatal attack. Together with the Heaven-Earth Mystic Yellow Pagoda, which was known as the best postnatal defense, they were known as the 2 postnatal merit treasures. Legend had it that after the primordial world was created, the great Tao sensed it and bestowed boundless merit. 30% of the merit went to the 3 pure ones formed by Panga's essence soul, 20% to the 12 ancestral magi formed by Panga's blood essence, and 30% to the 3 heaven-splitting treasures. The remaining 20% and 10% of the Heaven-Earth Mystic Yellow Pagoda combined with 90% of the Heaven-Earth Mystic Yellow Pagoda. It was taken away by Taoist Tai Ching and became his accompanying spiritual treasure. The last 10% of the merit combined with the 9 layers of Hongmeng Qi and turned into the postnatal merit treasure, the Hongmeng Heaven Measuring Ruler. Its whereabouts were unknown. He did not expect that this treasure would be hidden in the belly of Mount Buzhou. According to Feng Zichen's guess, the Hongmeng Heaven Measuring Ruler should be hidden in the Panga's Hall. After all, as the 3 pure ones formed by Panga's essence soul, they had the Heaven-Earth Mystic Yellow Pagoda as their accompanying spiritual treasure. In order to be fair, the 12 ancestral magi formed by Panga's blood essence should have the Hongmeng Heaven Measuring Ruler as their accompanying spiritual treasure. Now, it seemed that Feng Zichen was wrong. However, it made sense. The magi already had the Panga's Hall and Panga's Heart. If they also had the Hongmeng Heaven Measuring Ruler, it would be unfair to the 3 pure ones. His thoughts were in a mess, but it did not affect Feng Zichen's movements. He quickly reached out and grabbed the Hongmeng Heaven Measuring Ruler. There was no reason not to take the treasure in front of him. However, Feng Zichen was fast, but the Hongmeng Dao seal was faster. When he reached out, the Hongmeng Dao seal completely exploded. Bright purple light was emitted from its body, like a purple sun. Then, under Feng Zichen's incredulous gaze, the Hongmeng Dao seal crashed into the Hongmeng Heaven Measuring Ruler. There was no sound of explosion, nor any strange phenomenon. After the Hongmeng Dao seal crashed into the Hongmeng Heaven Measuring Ruler, time seemed to stop for a moment. Then, the Hongmeng Heaven Measuring Ruler silently split into 2 balls of purple light, one big and one small. The Hongmeng Dao seal turned slightly and rushed toward the big ball of purple light. These 2 balls of purple light were formed by the origin of the Hongmeng Heaven Measuring Ruler. The big ball of purple light was the Qi of Hongmeng, which was of the same origin as the Hongmeng Dao seal. The Hongmeng Dao seal's attitude was attracted by this item. The small ball of purple light was the merit of creation. This merit was different from the Heaven-Earth merit. It was given by the Great Tao and had nothing to do with the Heavenly Tao. Therefore, its color was purple, not gold. Chapter 51. In the cave, the heaven-splitting merit floated in midair and flickered with a gentle purple light. As the purple light circulated, the aura of the Great Tao spread everywhere. All the Tao in the world congratulated and rumbled, displaying the aura of the Great Tao. Is this the heaven-splitting merit? How fascinating! Feng Zichen's eyes were filled with intoxication as he looked at the heaven-splitting merit that was flowing with purple light. Its beauty could not be described with words. It was the beauty of the Great Tao. It was the origin of the Great Tao and contained all the secrets of the Great Tao. It was a shortcut to the Great Tao. The heaven-splitting merit was the #1 treasure of the primordial world. The reason why the 3 pure ones were the saints of heaven was that the 3 of them each had 10% of the heaven-splitting merit. Back then, in the Purple Cloud Palace, when the Tao ancestor distributed the positions of saints, he had once said, the 3 pure ones have the heaven-splitting merit. As the saints of heaven, they can become saints. Nuwa can become a saint if she has great merit in the future. Jieyin and Zhuanti have some karma with me. They can become saints. If he could not see the importance of the heaven-splitting merit, the importance of the heaven-splitting merit was self-evident when the 6 saints became saints. Let's not talk about Nuwa becoming a saint for now. After the 3 pure ones established the sect, they immediately became saints. As for Zhuanti and Jieyin, who were also saints, after establishing the sect, they had to make a great wish to the heavenly Tao before they could become saints. What was a great wish? It was like taking a loan from the heavenly Tao. They had to return it. As long as the great wish was not completed, they had to work hard and not slack off. Zhuanti and Jieyin had made a great wish. When Feng Zichen died in his previous life, there was no sign of it being repaid. It could be seen how difficult it was. The difference between having and not having the heaven-splitting merit was obvious. The demons gathered the destiny of thousands of demons and established the heavenly courts to occupy the destiny of the primordial world. Coupled with the destiny of Zhoxing, how terrifying was the destiny of the 3? After the Magi occupied the primordial world, they did not know how to establish order and manage the primordial world to benefit all living beings. They only cared about their own development and did whatever they wanted. Therefore, endless negative karma gathered and corroded the destiny of the Magi. Even so, the demon clan did not gain the upper hand against the sorcerer clan. Instead, they were suppressed. What was the reason? It was all because the Magi had received Panga's legacy and had 20% of the merit of creation. If someone were to refine this 20% merit of creation, it would be enough to create 2 sages. The shamans did not have primordial spirits, so they could not refine it. Then, he fused the 20% of merit into his clan's fate. It was enough to create 2 saints. How enormous was that? He directly made the sorcerer race the strongest race in the untainted land. It was because of this 20% merit of splitting the heavens that the demon race was no match for the sorcerer race. If not for the heavenly Tao secretly supporting the demons and suppressing the Magi, the demon clan had long been exterminated by the sorcerer clan. Now, the merit of creation in front of Feng Zichen was 10% of the merit of creation, which was enough to help a person become a saint. With such a precious treasure in front of them, who wouldn't be greedy? Not even a saint could do that. As for Feng Zichen, that was even more impossible. Unable to suppress the excitement in his heart, Feng Zichen stretched out his trembling hand and grabbed the merit of creation. Before Feng Zichen could touch the merit of creation flew over and landed in his sea of consciousness as if it had guessed his thoughts. In an instant, a bright light illuminated Feng Zichen's sea of consciousness, and endless comprehension of the great Tao floated in his mind. It allowed him, who had just broken through to the perfected mystic immortal realm, to take another step forward and reach the golden immortal realm. He only needed to wait for his true spirit to recover before he could complete his breakthrough. However, the joy on Feng Zichen's face did not last long. In just a moment, his expression turned ugly. After the merit of creation entered his sea of consciousness, it did not fuse with his primordial spirit. Instead, it floated in the middle of his sea of consciousness and gradually fell silent. What's going on? Why can't I refine the merit of creation? Just as Feng Zichen was puzzled, a majestic and sacred aura appeared and sent him a message. It was Pangu's aura. The merit of creation belongs to someone else? Borrow my hand to bring the merit of creation out of this place and into the hands of the destined person? From the message sent by Pangu, Feng Zichen knew why he could not refine the merit of creation. It was prepared by Pangu for someone else. However, although he could not refine the merit of creation was stored in his sea of consciousness and could also assist Feng Zichen in his cultivation. Of course, the most important thing was that as long as Feng Zichen handed over the merit of creation to the destined person, his sin of breaking the Hongming's heaven-measuring ruler could be written off. The Hongming's heaven-measuring ruler was an acquired merit treasure with boundless merit. How could it be broken so easily? Feng Zichen was fine now because he was in the belly of Mount Buzhou, which could isolate the power of the way of heaven. Outside Mount Buzhou, there was a monstrous amount of negative karma gathering, waiting for Feng Zichen to come out so that the heavenly punishment could kill him and completely remove him from the primordial world. Now, Pangu promised that as long as he handed over the merit of creation to the destined person, he could be forgiven. Although he would lose the merit of creation, he would save his life. Of course, it was worth it. After all, no matter how good the treasure was, it was not as important as his life. As for how to find the destined person, Feng Zichen was not worried at all. Even if the destined person would appear in front of him when the time was right, there was no need to look for him. Otherwise, he would need to search all over the primordial world. How could he be considered the destined person? Clang! The melodious sound of the bell rang, like the first cry of the great Tao. It rippled and attracted Feng Zichen's attention. Where the Hongmeng Qi was, the Hongmeng Dao seal's figure had completely disappeared, leaving only a purple Dao bell that was bobbing up and down. The bell just now was from it. Seeing this, Feng Zichen was shocked. He hurriedly communicated with the Hongmeng Dao seal and heaved a sigh of relief when he found that the connection was still there. The Hongmeng Dao seal was his most precious treasure. It was of great help to him and had once guided him onto the path of Tao. He could not lose it. With a wave of his hand, the purple Tao bell flew over and landed in Feng Zichen's hand without any resistance. This bell was called Hongmeng Daozhong. It was formed by the Hongmeng Dao seal devouring the Hongmeng Qi. It could shatter the vacuum and destroy all Dharma. It was extremely powerful. Unfortunately, the Hongmeng heaven-measuring ruler only contained 90% of the Hongmeng Qi. It could not transform the Hongmeng Dao seal into a connate cardinal treasure. It could only transform into a supreme-grade numinous treasure with 45 connate divine restrictions. Although there was only one connate divine restriction missing, it was the difference between a numinous treasure and a cardinal treasure. One's power was in the sky while the other was on the ground. They could not be compared. The remaining 10% of the Hongmeng Qi has already scattered into the primordial world. It can't be found. Otherwise, you would have been able to advance to a connate cardinal treasure. Feng Zichen played with the Hongmeng Daozhong and said to it. He had just said it casually. He did not expect the Hongmeng Daozhong to answer. However, he did not expect the Hongmeng Daozhong to flash slightly and send him a message. The connate 5 cosmos Qi? Feng Zichen frowned. This was the news that the Hongmeng Daozhong had sent him. After devouring the connate 5 cosmos Qi, it could advance to a connate cardinal treasure. However, where could he find the connate 5 cosmos Qi? Chapter 52. The connate 5 manifestations were the 5 stages before Wuji transitioned to the birth of heaven and earth: grand simplicity, grand primordium, grand beginning, grand simplicity, and taiji. Grand simplicity, the origin of nothingness, the beginning of God without seeing Qi. Grand primordium, formless and without substance, the beginning of Qi without seeing form. Grand primordium, formless and without substance, the beginning of form without substance. Grand simplicity, formless and without substance, the beginning of substance without form. Taiji, the birth of yin and yang, the 5 elements and all living things. The connate 5 manifestations were formed from the essence that dissipated during the evolution of the 5 manifestations. They shared the same root as the Hongmeng Qi. Devouring them would naturally allow the Hongmeng Daozhong to advance to a connate cardinal treasure. However, although Feng Zichen knew the origin of the connate 5 manifestations, he did not know where it was. Such a treasure had the ability to conceal itself from the heavenly secrets. No one would be able to calculate its location unless it was born. Forget it. If it's fated with me, I'll find it. It's not fated with me. I can't force it. After thinking about it, Feng Zichen really could not think of where the connate 5 manifestations was. He threw it to the back of his mind. He continued to sit cross-legged and prepared to undo the seal on his true spirit and advance to the golden immortal realm. Boom! The mighty power of the true spirit descended from the heavenly Tao space and chased his connate essence spirit to a corner of the Emperor Star Palace, regaining control of his body. In his sea of consciousness, the connate 8 trigrams, Mount Buzhou's Tao runes, the heaven-splitting Tao intent. Over the years, Feng Zichen had comprehended all sorts of great Tao true intents that appeared and surged towards his true spirit. It helped him sublimate and transform. After engraving the various great Tao true intents on his true spirit rose into the sky and landed in the 18th level of the heavenly Tao space, fusing with the golden immortal Tao fruit. The light of the great Tao flickered on his true spirit. An aura of immortality condensed on his true spirit, and a sturdy aura emanated from it. A speck of golden light rose from his true spirit. It was dazzling and illuminated the surroundings. This was the immortal Tao light, the symbol of the immortal true spirit, the symbol of a golden immortal. At that moment, Feng Zichen had officially stepped into the golden immortal realm. The golden immortal was a new chapter of the great Tao. After stepping into the golden immortal realm, one's true spirit would exist eternally and eternally in the world. With the same lifespan as heaven and earth, he would be immortal and would no longer have to worry about sickness and death. At the same time, when they sensed that Feng Zichen had advanced into the golden immortal realm, an unexpected change occurred in the boundless starry sky. Star sources quietly left Zhouxing's core and poured into the Emperor Star's core. It fused with the origin of the Emperor Star and turned into a purple Tao fetus. Above the embryo, the sun, the moon, and the stars rotated. Countless runes danced, and the great Tao of stars circled around him. This was the Tao embryo of stars, the Tao embryo that gave birth to the Lord of Stars. As soon as the star embryo of Tao was formed, Feng Zichen felt a guiding force coming from the Emperor Star. It crossed layers of space and tried to pull his true spirit into it. Fortunately, this force was not strong. Feng Zichen struggled lightly and broke free. However, as he struggled free, the purple star suddenly transmitted an angry emotion, transmitting a message to him, and then withdrew the purple star 3 treasures projection. After browsing the message in his mind, Feng Zichen smiled bitterly. Time and time again he had rejected the Emperor Star's guidance and completely angered it, so it withdrew the purple star 3 treasures projection. It also warned Feng Zichen that if there was a next time, he would never be able to get the blessing of the Emperor Star. After Tai Jingxian, must I ascend to the Emperor Star? How could Feng Zichen have the chance to think about it? He could only make plans in advance to avoid being in a mess. Fortunately, even if he was in the core of the Emperor Star, his true spirit could still control his body with the help of the heavenly Tao space. It was not unacceptable. After thinking about the future, Feng Zichen withdrew his thoughts and calmed down to comprehend the great Tao and organize what he had obtained recently. After coming to the heavenly court, he had obtained many opportunities and his realm had advanced by leaps and bounds. In just over 1,000 years, he had advanced from the mid-stage of Mystic Immortal to the early stage of Golden Immortal. It was time to settle down to prevent his realm from being unstable. Years did not matter in the untainted land. When Feng Zichen woke up again, 1,000 years had passed. Standing up, Feng Zichen first bowed 3 times to the void to show his gratitude to Pangu. Only then did he turn around and walk out. Regardless of whether Pangu was dead or not, he should pay his respects to him since he had obtained so many benefits here. As soon as he stepped out of the cave, Feng Zichen saw the sky full of innate baleful aura rushing towards him. He was so scared that he quickly raised the Hongmeng Daozhong to protect himself. Clang, clang. The Hongmeng Daozhong floated above Feng Zichen's head, and wisps of Hongmeng Qi hung down and scattered in all directions, wiping out all the innate baleful aura. Where did so much innate baleful aura come from? After the innate baleful aura disappeared, the situation in front of Feng Zichen was exposed, and he couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. A river completely composed of innate baleful aura gushed out from the bottom of Mount Buzhou and flowed out slowly. This baleful aura was different from what Feng Zichen had seen before, and there were wisps of chaotic aura mixed in it. It was similar to the baleful aura emitted by the chaos demon god in his memory. What's under Mount Buzhou? Why is there so much baleful aura gushing out? Even Daluo Jingxian would lose half his life if he fell into this river of baleful aura. If it came out, no one could resist Daluo Jingxian, and they would all be turned into ferocious beasts. Could it be there's a chaos demon god under Mount Buzhou? A bold guess appeared in Feng Zichen's mind, and his heart beat a little faster. When Pangu opened the sky and proved his Tao, 3,000 demon gods came to stop him and were killed by him one by one. However, were those chaos demon gods really dead? Feng Zichen didn't know what realm the chaos demon god was in. But he knew that even Daluo Jingxian had to be careful when he stepped into the land of chaos in the sky beyond heaven. And the great chaos outside the world where the chaos demon god lived was countless times more terrifying than the land of chaos in the sky beyond heaven. The chaos demon gods that could survive there, even if they were just born, had at least the strength of an ordinary Daluo Jingxian. Otherwise, they would definitely not be able to survive in the great chaos outside the world. Such a great existence formed by the origin of the great Tao had strength far beyond Daluo Jingxian. Even if they couldn't defeat Pangu, they wouldn't die easily. At the very least, the image of the chaos demon god existed in Feng Zichen's memory. That meant that the chaos demon god wasn't dead. If he wanted such an existence to completely disappear, he had to start from the source, eliminate all traces of its existence, and erase the concept of its existence. Let all living beings not think about it. Otherwise, even Daluo Jinxian could revive by relying on the thoughts of all living beings, let alone the Chaos Demon God. But now, in the primordial world, the existence of the Chaos Demon God was clearly visible, which meant that they hadn't died. But they hadn't revived, which meant that the Chaos Demon God was in a sealed state. In the primordial world, the only one who could seal them was Pangu. And this was Mount Buzhou. Thinking of this, Feng Zichen threw out the Chaos Bead. His figure flashed, and he entered it, falling toward the river of evil aura below. Chapter 53. The Chaos Bead was a treasure of the chaos in the past. It could even suppress the great chaos. Even though it was not as powerful as before, it could not be destroyed by a mere river of evil aura. On the river of evil aura, Feng Zichen drove the Chaos Bead upstream toward the source of the river of evil aura, intending to explore the secret under Mount Buzhou. Whether or not there was a Chaos Fiend Celestial under Mount Buzhou was only Feng Zichen's guess and had not been confirmed. Perhaps he had guessed wrongly, and there was something else under Mount Buzhou. The deeper he went, the darker the space around him became. In the end, there was nothing in Feng Zichen's eyes but endless darkness. I hate it. I hate it so much. Pangu, you deserve to die. After an unknown period of time, a sound came from the darkness. The sound was like the sound of the great Tao. It was ancient and mysterious, but it also carried endless resentment. In Feng Zichen's ears, it almost made him lose his mind and reason. Fortunately, the Chaos Bead emitted a black light that isolated these sounds, allowing him to regain his senses. There really is a Chaos Fiend Celestial under Mount Buzhou. After recognizing the meaning of these sounds, Feng Zichen was extremely shocked. No wonder there was a river of evil aura flowing out from under Mount Buzhou. With these Chaos Fiend Celestials constantly releasing evil aura, it was not surprising that there was so much evil aura. As he continued forward, light gradually appeared, driving away the nearby darkness and illuminating Feng Zichen's vision. The huge abyss was filled with pitch-black viscous liquid. One after another, balls of light rose from the liquid and flew upward. However, they were bounced back by a huge light screen in the air and fell back into the abyss. Is this the true spirit of a Chaos Fiend Celestial? Feng Zichen thought as he sensed the aura of the great Tao on the balls of light that was completely different from that of the primitive world. After walking for a while, a huge light screen appeared and blocked Feng Zichen, preventing him from going any further. Pangu's aura. The aura coming from the light screen was exactly the same as Pangu's. This was the seal that Pangu had set up to suppress the chaos demonic gods. Feng Zichen silently took a few steps back, keeping himself away from the barrier so that he wouldn't be accidentally injured by it. After the light screen sensed his retreat, it slowly disappeared. After confirming the safe distance, Feng Zichen stuck his head out and looked at the sealed chaos demonic god. As chaos fiend gods transformed from the origin of the great Tao, they were carriers of the great Tao, and their every move contained the true meaning of the great Tao. Observing them was no less than facing the great Tao directly. It could be called a heaven-shaking opportunity. With Feng Zichen's current realm, he was unable to withstand the Chaos Fiend Celestial's Tao runes. However, he could use the Hongmeng Daozhong to record the Taoist rhyme for future study. Clang, clang, clang. The Hongmeng Daozhong floated in the air, branding the Chaos Fiend Celestial's figures one by one. Every time a Chaos Fiend Celestial's figure was branded, there would be a melodious bell sound. It was very happy. During this time, Feng Zichen used the power of the Hongmeng Daozhong to isolate his perception of the Great Tao and looked at the sealed Chaos Fiend Celestial's true spirits. Those Chaos Fiend Celestial's true spirits were all wrapped in Great Tao runes, making it impossible to see their faces clearly. One could only see a ball of bright light. If it were any other time, Feng Zichen would probably fall into enlightenment and die when he saw these Great Tao runes. But now, he was isolated from the Great Tao. He only felt that those runes were obscure and difficult to understand, and he would feel dizzy just by looking at them. Not to mention falling into enlightenment. Those Chaos Fiend Celestials were unwilling to be trapped here, so they charged at the seal one after another, intending to break the seal and return to the world. However, the seal set by Pangu was so powerful that those chaos fiend celestials that charged at the seal were knocked into the abyss one after another, unable to float up for a long time. They couldn't do anything to the seal at all. No, it wasn't completely useless. Under Feng Zichen's continuous observation, he discovered that every time a chaos fiend celestial hit the seal, there would be a moment of loosening. Although this period of time was very short and the seal was immediately restored, the chaos fiend celestial couldn't take the opportunity to escape. However, there was still a wisp of chaos fiendish chi that leaked out. This wisp of chaos fiendish chi disintegrated in midair, and a small portion leaked out, turning into connate fiendish chi. This was the source of the river of fiendish chi. Most of it fused into Mount Buzhou, constantly eroding Mount Buzhou, and was destroyed by Pangu's pressure. This was the main reason why Pangu's pressure was getting thinner day by day. The chaos fiend celestial hit the barrier day after day, and every time, a wisp of chaos fiendish chi leaked out, which was destroyed by Pangu's pressure. However, the world had been opened for so long, and Pangu's pressure was being consumed by the chaos fiendish chi day and night without being replenished, so wouldn't it be getting thinner day by day? According to Feng Zichen's calculation, even if Gong Gong didn't hit Mount Buzhou, one day in the future, Mount Buzhou would collapse under the erosion of the chaos fiend celestial. Suddenly, Feng Zichen's pupils shrank, and he said in shock, "What's that?" In the abyss, a wisp of green light appeared, bobbing up and down in the pitch-black liquid, resisting the erosion of the fiendish chi with difficulty. What a treasure! Unfortunately, it's useless now. Feng Zichen shook his head regretfully. The liquid in the abyss was formed by the chaos fiend celestial's fiendish chi. It could even erode Pangu's pressure, which showed its power. This treasure couldn't be replenished after falling into it. Even if it could barely resist it now, how long could it last? Sooner or later, it would be destroyed by the fiendish chi. Just when Feng Zichen was feeling sorry for the treasure, a ray of light suddenly burst out from the boundary, scooping up the treasure and handing it to him. Looking at the treasure emitting green light in front of him, Feng Zichen didn't feel happy at all. Instead, he was a little scared. What was the purpose of sending a treasure to him for no apparent reason? Moreover, he had gained so many benefits recently that he was a little scared. First, he got the primordial star tree, then he found the Hongmeng heaven-measuring ruler. Obtaining any one of these items could be explained by luck. However, he got both of them at the same time, which couldn't be explained by luck. At first, he was blinded by the treasures and didn't think carefully. He thought that he got the treasures by chance. After all, the primordial star tree was related to the Tao of stars, and the Hongmeng Tao seal was attracted by the chi of Hongmeng. It was reasonable for him to get both of them. However, after thinking about it carefully, Feng Zichen broke out in a cold sweat. Both of them were supreme treasures of heaven and earth. It was already a blessing to get one of them. How could he have both of them at the same time? The primordial star tree was normal. The Hongmeng heaven-measuring ruler was hidden in the belly of Mount Buzhou. How could it be sensed by the Hongmeng Tao seal? It was obvious that someone deliberately released the aura of the Hongmeng chi to lure him to the belly of Mount Buzhou. What happened later also proved this point. Pangu wanted to use him to hand over the heaven-splitting merit to someone. Although it was a little troublesome, Feng Zichen felt that it was worth it to erase the karma of destroying the Hongmeng heaven-measuring ruler. However, what was with the treasure in front of him? Chapter 54. Looking at the treasure in front of him, Feng Zichen hesitated for a moment. There was no love for no reason in this world. If he took this item, it would be another karma. He did not know how he would repay it in the future. He could not take this item. Seeing that Feng Zichen was indifferent, the treasure leaned in front of him. It seemed to be impatient and wanted to fall into his hands. Seeing this, Feng Zichen gritted his teeth and took the treasure. As the saying goes, if you don't take it, you will be punished. Now that Pangu had given this item to him, it was because he thought highly of Feng Zichen. It was better if he did not know how to appreciate favors. An existence like Pangu should be very broad-minded and would not care about his rejection. But what if What if he cared? Offending Pangu in the primordial world was chilling. Therefore, Feng Zichen did not dare to take the risk, no matter how small the chances were. He could only accept Pangu's gift obediently and bear the karma that he deserved. The treasure fell into his hand and turned into a green seed. In the hazy green light, the great Tao runes were faintly discernible. It was very magical. The seed of the world tree? After knowing the origin of this item, Feng Zichen almost exploded on the spot. The world tree, the chaos spirit root, was even stronger than the connate spirit root. In the primordial world, only the 3 heaven-opening treasures could be compared to it. Feng Zichen was not surprised that such a treasure was in his hands, but shocked and terrified. The sun star shone on the world and brought endless light to the primordial world. It was beneficial to all living beings and had boundless merit. Therefore, the Eastern Emperor Tai was accompanied by the Bell of Chaos. The 3 pure ones were formed by Pangu's primordial spirit. They had heaven-opening merit and boundless merit. Therefore, they had been bestowed with connate treasures by the Tao ancestor. Although Feng Zichen had some merit, he was far inferior to the first 4. He did not have such a strong blessing to bear the treasure. If one's virtue did not match his position, there would be disaster. How could Feng Zichen not be afraid? Goo! Feng Zichen swallowed his saliva and said with a trembling voice, "This, can I refuse?" No one replied. There was only a flash of light that transmitted the cause and effect of this matter into his mind. Is it because of the chaos bead? Feng Zichen was a little depressed. As expected, those treasures were not so easy to obtain. One ring after another. It turned out that Pangu had predicted that Mount Buzhou would collapse and had deliberately left the world tree behind, to replace Mount Buzhou as the pillar that supported the heavens. Unfortunately, the chaos demonic celestial found out about this. He did everything he could to pull the Tree of World into the seal, intending to destroy it and ruin Pangu's plan. Therefore, the world tree did not show any signs of growth since the creation of the world. Instead, it had degenerated into a seed. According to the course of history, this seed should have been destroyed by now. This was because the world tree did not appear when Mount Buzhou collapsed in the future. But now, as Feng Zichen came here with the chaos bead, everything changed. As the chaos spirit root, the world tree could only germinate in a chaotic environment. And the chaos bead contained a chaotic space. It was the only treasure in the world that could make the world tree seed germinate. Therefore, when he sensed the aura of the chaos bead, Pangu gave the world tree seed to Feng Zichen and asked him to cultivate the world tree so that it could be used to support the heavens in the future. Great God Pangu is really worried about the primordial world. But the descendants are not helpful and always drag you down. Holding the world tree seed, Feng Zichen was filled with emotions. According to Pangu's prediction, Mount Buzhou collapsed under the erosion of the chaos fiend god. In reality, Mount Buzhou was broken by Gangang. Cultivate the world tree and the karma will disappear. You can obtain endless merit and enjoy endless luck. This was the message that Pangu passed to Feng Zichen in his last will. He painted a big picture for him so that he could cultivate the world tree with peace of mind. Feng Zichen could only laugh at this. The 3 pure ones were about to become saints. It would not be long before the great Magi Demon War and Mount Buzhou collapsed. In such a short period of time, it was not difficult to cultivate the world tree to the extent that it could support the primordial world. However, in order to cultivate the world tree better, the chaos bead's current level was not enough. In other words, with the world tree, Feng Zichen's search for the chaos bead fragments in the future would definitely be much smoother. But at the same time, he would obtain so many benefits. When Mount Buzhou collapsed, the world tree would not be able to support the heavens and earth. Feng Zichen would definitely be doomed. Sigh. Fortune lies in misfortune, and misfortune lies in fortune. What a wise saying. The myriad of thoughts turned into a sigh. Feng Zichen came back to his senses and placed the world tree seed into the chaos bead. He planned to use the chaos origin to make it take root and sprout. As long as the world tree could grow, the rest would be much easier. The world tree itself had the power to open up a world. Its roots could connect to endless dimensions and absorb nutrients to strengthen itself. Only such a spirit root could support the primordial world. In the chaos bead, wisps of chaos origin chi gathered and surged toward the world tree seed. Sigh. Pity my chaos bead. Looking at the chaos bead that instantly dimmed, Feng Zichen was filled with heartache. The chaos origin chi born in the chaos bead had long been used up by him. Now, the chaos origin chi was forcefully condensed by him at the cost of the chaos bead. Buzz. After absorbing the chaos origin chi, the world tree seed trembled. The light on its body flickered and emitted a rich vitality. Suddenly, a trace of black light with a dense murderous aura appeared on the world tree seed. It devoured all the vitality on its body and calmed it down. I knew it would not be so simple. Seeing this, Feng Zichen was not surprised. If the world tree seed could germinate so easily, it would not be worthy of the benefits that Pangu had promised him. The resentment of the chaos demon god? Looking carefully at the black light, Feng Zichen recognized the origin of this item. The world tree had struggled in the abyss for so long. It was normal for it to be tainted with the resentment of the chaos demon god. Now it seemed that in order for the seed to germinate, the only way was to eradicate the resentment of the chaos demon god. Otherwise, no amount of vitality would be enough for it to devour. This is troublesome. Feng Zichen frowned. Eradicating the resentment of the chaos demon god was not difficult for him. As long as he used Hongmeng Daozhong on the world tree seed for a few hundred years, he could turn the resentment of the chaos demon god into Hongmeng Qi. However, if the resentment was combined with the seed, he could turn the seed into Hongmeng Qi while eradicating the resentment. Then it would all be over. As if sensing Feng Zichen's distress, a message appeared in his mind. Thunder Lock. Bringing the world tree seed here can erase the resentment of the chaos demon god? Thunder was indeed the nemesis of dark things like resentment. Thinking of this, Feng Zichen seemed to understand Pangu's plan. Using the power of thunder accumulated in the Thunder Lock to erase the resentment of the chaos demon god was a good idea. After knowing the destination, Feng Zichen did not stay any longer. He turned and walked out. He did not dare to be curious anymore. Chapter 55. The Thunder Lock was a place where lightning gathered. It was located in the south of the Eldritch Land and was extremely far away from Mount Buzhou. Therefore, Feng Zichen did not dare to delay after he left Mount Buzhou. He identified the direction and took a step forward. He crossed a distance of 100,000 miles and rushed towards the Thunder Lock land. This was the abyssal shrinking ground, a technique that could fold space. Since Feng Zichen had become a golden immortal, his power had improved. He could cross 100,000 miles in one step. After a few decades, Feng Zichen had left Mount Buzhou and was rushing through the Eldritch Land. Suddenly, there was a strong murderous aura in front of him and the turbid aura of the earth. The sorcerer tribe? Feng Zichen stopped and frowned as he looked ahead. In the Eldritch Land, most of the cultivators cultivated the Khanate Qi. Only the 3 pure ones and the ancestors of sorcerer tribe cultivated the Khanate Qi because of their origins. One of them collected the Khanate Qi while the other absorbed the turbid aura of the earth. Seeing the murderous aura in front of him, he guessed that the sorcerer tribe was doing something in front of him. After all, the 12 tribes of the sorcerer tribe were scattered all over the Eldritch Land. It was not strange to encounter the sorcerer tribe. With that thought, Feng Zichen did not want to be nosy. He planned to go around this place and fly to another place. He had something important to do and could not delay. He did not want to be nosy, but the sorcerer tribe did not think so. Sensing an unfamiliar aura nearby, the Black Rock Taoist smiled coldly. Since you are here, stay. As soon as he finished speaking, a murderous aura rose from his body and swept towards Feng Zichen. The murderous aura could destroy one's spiritual intelligence and the turbid aura could corrupt one's primordial spirit. When the two were combined, their power increased exponentially. In an instant, it could melt one's primordial spirit and destroy one's primordial spirit. Feng Zichen did not dare to let the murderous aura get close to him. He waved his hand and activated the power of the sun, turning it into sun primordial fire and burning the murderous aura. Me? What an ancient title! I can't believe that after the rise of the celestial sect, there are still people who call themselves that. Feng Zichen Blackrock Taoist sighed. In ancient times, no matter how high or low one's cultivation was, they all liked to refer to themselves as this seat. It was only when Hong Jun attained the Tao and established the celestial sect of wonders that the names of the Poor Way and the Tao spread in the primordial world. Grand Sun Primordial Flame. What is your relationship with the Heavenly Court's demon monarch? Blackrock Taoist asked in shock when he saw Feng Zichen shoot out a ball of Grand Sun Primordial Flame. What does it matter? What does that have to do with you? As he spoke, Feng Zichen's 5 qis vibrated in his body. He activated the power of the 5 elements of heaven and earth and formed the 5 emperors' great handprint. He then attacked Blackrock Taoist. He was just passing by this place, yet this person acted so ruthlessly, wanting to kill him. Feng Zichen was naturally furious, especially when he discovered that the other party was only at the Golden Immortal Realm. This made him even more furious. Because of that, he did not show any mercy when he attacked. If you don't want to say it, then forget it. In any case, you ran into me today. You're destined to die. Hei Yen Taoist chuckled. Boundless murderous qi gushed out from his body and rushed toward the 5 emperors' great palm print. Sizzle, sizzle. On the 5 emperors' great palm print, the power of the 5 elements circulated and melted everything. On the murderous qi, the destructive qi surged. The two collided in the air and cancelled each other out. Seeing this, Feng Zichen snorted. The 5 emperors' great palm print exploded and destroyed the murderous qi. After that, the power of the 5 elements swayed in the air and turned into the 5 elements' sacred beast, pouncing toward Blackrock Taoist. Damn it! Feng Zichen's move caught Blackrock Taoist off guard. Because of that, the 5 elements' sacred beast broke through his murderous qi and revealed his true face. He was wearing a black robe of medium height, with a thin face. His dark eyes were intertwined with murderous qi, which was extremely terrifying. No, you're not from the sorcerer tribe. You're from the demon sect. Feng Zichen could not help but exclaim when he saw the other party's appearance. The sorcerer tribe's cultivation path had always been based on murderous qi and murderous qi as a supplement. However, the person in front of him was mainly using murderous qi and murderous qi as a supplement. This was clearly the path of the ancient demon sect. You're quite knowledgeable to recognize my origin. After Feng Zichen exposed his origin, Blackrock Taoist no longer hid his identity. In an instant, the demonic qi enveloped the area. Majestic demonic qi surged out and filled the area. You're courting death. Now that the Xian sect was flourishing, as a member of the demon sect, it was fine if he did not hide everywhere. He still dared to walk around the untainted land. Did he really think that the celestial demons in the sky were made of mud? Even so, Feng Zichen still held up the 5 emperors' imperial canopy and carefully defended himself. The demon sect today was different from the demon sect of the future. It was a true supreme great path, comparable to the celestial path of the Xian sect. The celestial path gathered Khanate qi for cultivation, while the demon sect gathered murderous qi for cultivation. The two completely different cultivation systems could be said to be going against each other. It was hard to say which was better and which was worse, but each had its own advantages and disadvantages. While Feng Zichen was thinking, Blackrock Taoist moved. Vast demonic qi gathered in front of him, forming 3 pitch-black longswords that emitted a chilling aura. Hee. Blackrock Taoist laughed and pointed at Feng Zichen. He shouted, "Go!" Buzz. The 3 longswords suddenly vibrated, reflecting a chilling aura. With a chilling aura, they shot toward Feng Zichen. Feng Zichen curled his lips in disdain and hooked his hand. 3 rays of bright starlight fell and turned into 3 rays of sword light, slashing toward the longswords that were shooting toward him. Among the 3 rays of sword light, one was as bright as the sun, one was as bright as the moon, and the last one was as bright as the stars. Carrying the power of the sun, moon, and stars, They slashed the 3 demon swords. Without a sound, the demon swords broke and dissipated between heaven and earth. The 3 rays of sword light did not lose their momentum and continued to slash toward Black Rock Taoist. Oh no! Seeing that the demon swords were destroyed so easily, Black Rock Taoist knew that the sword light was ferocious. He quickly summoned a black lotus and suspended it above his head to block the sword light. The lotus was completely black, and it was a grade 6 flower. It was surrounded by a destructive aura. Hanging above Black Rock Taoist's head, rays of dark light fell and tangled with the 3 rays of sword light. In just a moment, the sword light was destroyed. Seeing the lotus above Black Rock Taoist's head, Feng Zichen instantly recognized the origin of this treasure. This is the grade 6 Black Lotus of Destruction. Black Rock Taoist looked at Feng Zichen in surprise. He was surprised that Feng Zichen could recognize this treasure. Yes, this is the treasure of the demon sect, the Black Lotus of Destruction. However, this was not important. Black Rock Taoist laughed and continued to say, "Hee hee, you forced me to use the Black Lotus of Destruction. You are dead meat. No one can save you." As he spoke, the grade 6 Black Lotus of Destruction shone brightly and burst out rays of destructive divine light, sweeping in all directions and destroying everything around it. Boasting. Feng Zichen smiled coldly and took out the Hongmeng Daozhong and tapped it lightly. In an instant, the space shattered and the divine light was extinguished. Black Rock Taoist immediately turned into ashes. Only the grade 6 Black Lotus of Destruction was left, quietly suspended in the air. There is no door to fortune and misfortune, only the call of man. Looking at the place where Black Rock Taoist died, Feng Zichen shook his head and prepared to leave. Chapter 56. As for the Black Lotus of Destruction in the air, Feng Zichen did not even look at it. The 6th grade Black Lotus was transformed from the lotus seed of the 12th grade Black Lotus of Destruction. The Black Lotus of Destruction was the most precious treasure of the demon ancestor, and it disappeared with the demon ancestor. Who knew if taking away the Black Lotus would attract the attention of the demon ancestor? He was already in trouble, and he did not dare to cause any more trouble. Who is it? How dare you kill the demon ancestor? However, just as Feng Zichen was about to leave, he saw the Black Lotus of Destruction blooming with a strange black light. Then, a divine thought with a huge pressure came here. Under this divine thought, the space was solidifying, and he was squeezed out of the void. At the same time, Feng Zichen also found that the qi of heaven and earth, which he could control with ease before, could no longer be mobilized. Sealing the space, suppressing the qi of heaven and earth. Is it Tai Jingxian? Knowing the horror of Tai Jingxian, Feng Zichen did not want to be entangled with him. With a thought, a 5-colored brilliance flowed out of his body and swept toward the Black Lotus of Destruction. It was the great magic that he had not used for a long time, the innate 5-colored divine light. As the 5-colored brilliance flowed, everything melted and returned to the origin. It swept across the 6th grade Black Lotus, and only a scream was heard. The divine thought was easily erased, and all the marks on the 6th grade Black Lotus were erased. In other words, after being brushed by the innate 5-element divine light, the 6th grade Black Lotus became an ownerless object. You're courting death. Suddenly, in the void, a turbid qi gathered and turned into a big hand, pinching Feng Zichen in it. Boom! In the giant hand, the 5-colored brilliance flowed endlessly and suddenly turned into 5 divine swords, piercing the giant hand. Then, with a twist of the divine swords, the giant hand shattered, turned into turbid qi and disappeared. F***C, you're crazy! In the 5-colored brilliance, Feng Zichen could not help but curse. This Tai Jingxian was simply poisonous. He was obviously nearby, but he had to do something superfluous and specifically sent his divine thought through the 6th grade Black Lotus. Wasn't that crazy? Couldn't he have just rushed over? Feng Zichen was depressed, but he did not know that Taoist Baleful Yin was even more depressed. As a member of the Devil Doctrine, it was already difficult for him to move in the untainted land, let alone a devil cultivator in the consummation of Tai. The slightest carelessness could attract the attention of the experts of the celestial sect of wonders and be casually killed. Even if Feng Zichen killed his men, he would not dare to show his face. He only dared to use the grade 6 Black Lotus to send down a strand of spiritual sense. As a Tai Jingxian, one divine sense was enough to kill a golden immortal. But who would have thought that the other party would possess such a powerful divine ability? Not only did it erase his spiritual sense, it also erased the mark on the grade 6 Black Lotus cultivator. The grade 6 Black Lotus was one of the tokens of the demon sect. If he lost it, the higher-ups of the demon sect would definitely make him wish he was dead. This time, Taoist Baleful Yin panicked. Ignoring the risk of being exposed, he hurriedly walked out, afraid that Feng Zichen would snatch the grade 6 Black Lotus away. That was why the scene just now happened. Snatch my demon sect's supreme treasure. Kid, you've got guts. With a flash of light in the void, Taoist Baleful Yin appeared and laughed sinisterly at Feng Zichen. Fellow Taoist, you must be joking. In terms of guts, how can I compare to you? As a Tai Jingxian fiendish cultivator, you still dare to be so ostentatious in the wilderness. Such courage is truly admirable. After saying that, Feng Zichen even cupped his hands to show his admiration. You, Taoist Baleful Yin pointed at Feng Zichen, so angry that he could not speak. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Feng Zichen raised the Hongmeng Daozhong, gathered all the dermic powers in his body, and knocked 3 times in a row. Clang, clang, clang. The rapid sound of the bell rang, and the space collapsed, leaving nothing behind. Only the Hongmeng Qi surged, drowning Taoist Baleful Yin. Be it the malevolent Qi or the turbid Qi, against the source of the Hongmeng Qi, they could not fight back. In just a moment, they were assimilated by the Hongmeng Qi and turned into a part of it. A supreme-grade Khanate numinous treasure? How do you have a supreme-grade Khanate numinous treasure? Drowned by the Hongmeng Qi, Taoist Baleful Yin could not help but exclaim as he resisted its assimilation with difficulty. Although the Hongmeng Daozhong was strong, Feng Zichen's cultivation realm was too low. It was not realistic to want to finish off Taoist Baleful Yin in a single move. However, it's mine now. Taoist Baleful Yin laughed strangely and his body suddenly dispersed, turning into streams of turbid malevolent qi that entangled with the Hongmeng Qi. His essence spirit took the opportunity to rush out of the Hongmeng Qi and split towards Feng Zichen. Do you really think that you can close the gap in cultivation realm with a supreme-grade numinous treasure? Today, I'll let you know what Tai Jingxian is. Before he arrived, his arrogant voice sounded from afar. Shut up. Retrieving a stream of Khanate Star origin qi from the Khanate Star tree, Feng Zichen sent it into the Hongmeng Daozhong. Instantly, the Hongmeng Daozhong expanded and shot out a resplendent purple light. At that moment, the great Tao, space-time and everything else seemed to have vanished and the world returned to a state of nothingness. An unknown period of time passed. It felt like an eternity but also like an instant. Everything returned to normal. Only Taoist Baleful Yin's figure disappeared completely from the primordial world, as though he had never existed. After killing Taoist Baleful Yin, Feng Zichen's figure flashed and he vanished from the place. Not long after he vanished, a rift suddenly appeared in the void where the grade 6 Black Lotus was and swallowed the Black Lotus. Thereafter, space returned to normal. The entire process was carried out silently. If not for the disappearance of the grade 6 Black Lotus, it would have been as if nothing had happened. As expected, there's something wrong with the grade 6 Black Lotus. Feng Zichen, who was hiding in the dark, heaved a sigh of relief after witnessing the entire process of the disappearance of the grade 6 Black Lotus. Fortunately, he did not take away the Black Lotus. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. After the Black Lotus disappeared, Feng Zichen immediately got up and left. 2 demonic cultivators had died here and the experts of the demonic path might come to check it out. It would be bad if he was caught red-handed. Having learned his lesson, Feng Zichen concealed his aura completely as he continued on his journey, not revealing the slightest bit. He did not want to get involved in trouble again. Are these people of the demonic path crazy? Why are they wandering around the primordial world in groups? Aren't they afraid of being killed by passing immortals? Looking at the demonic cultivators in front of him, Feng Zichen was increasingly puzzled. Since killing the 2 demonic cultivators last time, this was the 3rd wave of demonic cultivators he had encountered. It was rare to encounter demonic cultivators in 10,000 years. Feng Zichen had encountered 4 waves of demonic cultivators in just 100 years and even killed 2 of them. His luck was really unparalleled. They must be up to something big to wander around the primordial world so recklessly. It's a pity. Shaking his head, Feng Zichen used the Earth Escape technique and planned to travel underground to avoid the demonic cultivators. Although he was curious about the purpose of the demonic cultivators, Feng Zichen also knew that he could not afford to provoke a group of demonic cultivators like this. It was more important to complete the task given by Pangu and revive the World Tree Seed. Chapter 57. South of the Eldritch Wilderness, where the Thunder Lock was located, the sky was filled with thunderclouds that stretched for hundreds of millions of miles. Lightning flashed all year round. In the Thunder Lock, lightning gathered like water and turned into a huge lake. Then, lightning flashed like trees and turned into forests. Then, lightning flashed like mountains, grass, fish, and beasts. It was like a world of lightning. Is this the Thunder Lock? It's really a place of creation and Xianxia. Feng Zichen exclaimed as he looked at the majestic scene in front of him. The Thunder Lock was also known as the Eldritch Lightning region. Other than a few types of lightning, all types of lightning in the Eldritch Wilderness could be found in the Thunder Lock. However, there were bursts of thunder in front of them, but they didn't hear the slightest sound. Why are those demonic cultivators here? Suddenly, Feng Zichen frowned and muttered to himself. In a flash, he disappeared from where he stood. In just a few moments, a few figures with dense demonic chi rushed towards him. Quick, quick! The Black Lotus Saint is getting impatient in the Thunder Lock. If we don't hurry, we will be punished again. After saying that, the few demons thought of something terrifying. They shuddered and hastened their footsteps towards the Thunder Lock. The Black Lotus Saint? He must be either the leader of the demonic sects or one of the higher-ups. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to scare so many demons. After the few demons left, Feng Zichen appeared and thought to himself, but as demonic cultivators, what are they doing in the Thunder Lock? Feng Zichen could not figure it out. The power of lightning was of the utmost yang attribute. It was the best counter to yin qi. The Thunder Lock was the place with the most power of lightning in the entire Eldritch Wilderness. Weren't the demonic cultivators looking for excitement here? Since he could not figure it out, Feng Zichen did not force them. No matter what the demonic cultivators were planning, the immortal path would be there to protect them. No matter what, it was not his place to worry. Feng Zichen moved and went around the Thunder Lock, flying into the distance. Although the Thunder Lock was boundless, it was almost impossible to meet any demonic cultivators. However, several demonic Dao cultivators had already entered this place. Just in case, it was better to enter from another place. A few days later, Feng Zichen estimated the distance and felt that it was far enough. He stopped and turned around to enter the lightning lake. Rumble! As soon as he stepped into the lightning lake, he heard the sound of thunder. It was so loud that it shook the heavens. Compared to the tranquility of the outside world, it was a completely different scene. Then, several bolts of divine lightning struck towards Feng Zichen. Instantly, he felt as if his entire body had been cleansed by lightning. His body, vital energy, blood, soul core, and true spirit were shaken, numb, and then calm. Comfortable. Feng Zichen steadied his mind after blocking the divine lightning that struck him again. He felt that what he was stepping on was not lightning, but solid ground that was supporting his body. Is this the first level of the Leisure? Feng Zichen looked around as he got used to the environment. He thought of the rumors about the Leisure. There were 9 levels in the Leisure. The first level corresponded to the Heaven Immortal, the second and third level corresponded to the Xian Immortal, the third, fourth, and fifth level corresponded to the Golden Immortal, and the sixth, seventh, and eighth level corresponded to the Tai Jingxian. As for the 9th level, Only the Daluo Jingxian could enter it. According to the rumors, there was a thunder tribulation Dao fruit in the deepest part of the Leisha. If a Tai Jingxian could enter the deepest part of the Leisha, he could pluck the Dao fruit and refine it. He could refine the indestructible true spirit and become a Daluo. Unfortunately, in the Leisha, there were countless innate divine lightning that were extremely powerful. Even the Daluo Jingxian did not dare to enter the Leisha. He could only wander around the periphery, let alone the Tai Jingxian. Therefore, since the birth of the Leisha, no one had ever heard of anyone obtaining the Thunder Tribulation Dao fruit. Feng Zichen took a step forward. As he took a step forward, the water formed by the lightning surged, shaking the surroundings. As the water surged, countless lightning bolts covered the sky and drowned Feng Zichen. With a roar, Feng Zichen faced the torrential Leisha water head-on. With a thought, the acupuncture points all over his body shone brightly. Endless divine light gathered and formed a furnace above his head. The heaven and earth furnace trembled slightly and released a strong suction force that sucked the water of the Leisha into it. The water was refined into the pure yin-yang qi of creation and nourished his body. Lightning was the core of yin and yang, the foundation of all living beings. Therefore, lightning was born from the yin-yang qi of creation and contained the mysteries of yin and yang. In the first 3 levels of the Leisha, the lightning energy was only at the Heaven Immortal and Xian Immortal level. To Feng Zichen, who had already reached the Golden Immortal realm, they were all supplements that could not cause him any harm. With the Heaven and Earth furnace, Feng Zichen walked towards the next level of the Leisha. Along the way, the water of the Leisha surged and was absorbed by the Heaven and Earth furnace. When Feng Zichen passed through the 3rd level of the Leisha, his body was surrounded by divine light. The yin-yang qi flowed continuously and there was an inexplicable Taoist rhythm. The human body was like the heaven and earth. There was the rise and fall of yin and yang, the appearance of black rabbits, the arrival and departure of tides, the bright and dark of the wind and rain, the rumbling of thunder and lightning, the puffing of clouds, the standing of mountains and rivers, the flourishing and withering of plants, the silence of movement and silence, the opening and closing of the changes, all of which were similar to the sky. Under the effect of the yin-yang qi of creation, Feng Zichen's body underwent a subtle change. He merged with the heaven and earth and transformed into Pangu's Dao body. Bathing in lightning is both a risk and an opportunity. This saying is true. Feeling the changes in his body, Feng Zichen was very excited. Lightning could destroy all living beings and create all living beings. Destruction and creation coexisted. The Tao of yin and yang was contained in it. After experiencing the changes in his body, Feng Zichen channeled all his arcane energy and stepped into the 4th level of the Leisha. The innate lightning in the 4th level of the Leisha had reached the level of a golden immortal. He had to be careful. Hualala! The branches of a Leisha swayed and suddenly shone brightly, brushing towards him. At the same time, the leaves of the grass were like sharp swords, piercing towards him with the power of lightning. With a cold snort, the heaven and earth furnace above Feng Zichen's head shook violently. Layers of ripples appeared in the void, shattering the branches and grass into pieces and absorbing them into the furnace. In an instant, the surroundings were cleared. In the 4th level of the Leisha, the form of the lightning changed drastically, turning into mountains, rivers, and trees. If he didn't know that this was the Leisha, Feng Zichen would have thought that he was in some famous mountain. Sensing Feng Zichen's aura, the Leisha trees shone brightly, illuminating the heaven and earth. Their branches danced and swished towards him. Rumble! One after another, the Leisha mountains flew up. The mountains were steep and came crashing down on him. The flowers and grass on the ground also exploded at this time, turning into balls of lightning that rushed towards Feng Zichen. At this time, the 4th level of the Leisha exploded. Endless lightning surged and engulfed Feng Zichen. The heaven and earth furnace shook violently under the impact of the lightning. Cracks appeared on the furnace as if it would shatter in the next moment. If he was hit by these attacks, his divine soul would be destroyed in an instant. Chapter 58. Explode. Without hesitation, Feng Zichen detonated the heaven and earth cauldron above his head. In an instant, a powerful force was unleashed, forcing the surrounding lightning to retreat. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Feng Zichen merged with the void and dashed forward. Rumble! The lightning in the luais was endless. In the blink of an eye, it gathered again and struck him out of the void. So powerful! Shocked, Feng Zichen summoned the 5 qi in his body and formed a 5 emperor canopy. With a buzz, it covered him and blocked all the lightning and attacks coming from all directions. The canopy trembled crazily and was shattered by the lightning bolts that came from all directions. Countless lightning bolts poured down and landed on his body. In an instant, scorched wounds appeared on his corporeal body. This is only the 4th level of the luais and it is already so powerful. How terrifying will the next 5 levels of the luais be? With a sigh, Feng Zichen knew that passively defending was not a solution. He decided to take the initiative. He reached out his hand and the shattered 5 elemental qi gathered again and turned into the 5 emperor palm to block the incoming lightning. Then Feng Zichen used a secret technique to guide the starlight in the sky. In an instant, 5 different colored starlight crossed the layers of space and arrived at the 5 emperor palm. With the support of the starlight, the 5 emperor palm's power increased tremendously. The 5 elemental sacred beasts followed and destroyed all the lightning around Feng Zichen. However, before Feng Zichen could heave a sigh of relief, as if enraged by his actions, more lightning gathered from the 4-layered luais and instantly shattered the 5 emperor's great palm print. Oh no! Seeing that the situation was not right, Feng Zichen immediately mobilized all the Dharma power in his body and used the stellar shift. In the next moment, time flowed backward and everything returned to normal. The lightning that attacked him retreated and the 5 emperor palm reappeared. Everything returned to how it was a moment ago. Huff, puff. Under the 5 emperor palm, Feng Zichen's face was pale and he was panting heavily. With his current strength, forcefully casting stellar transposition and reversing time had nearly drained all of his magic power. After a while, Feng Zichen recovered a little of his mana. With a thought, he turned the 5 emperor's palm print into the qi of the 5 elements and retracted it back into his body. After what had happened just now, Feng Zichen had already discovered that these lightning bolts would affect the entire body. Unless one could fight against the entire 4-layered luais, one could only passively defend and could not take the initiative to attack. Sure enough, as Feng Zichen withdrew the 5 emperor's palm imprint, the power of the lightning was greatly reduced. Although it still hurt, it was still within the limits of his body's endurance. Furthermore, the lightning struck his body. While causing harm to the body, the yin and yang creation qi that it carried would slowly change the body, causing the body to transform into the Pangudao body. When the lightning entered his body, he was both happy and worried. If he could withstand it, it would be a great fortune. If he couldn't, he would die and his Dao would vanish. However, I can't keep being struck by lightning like this. Looking at his naked body, Feng Zichen was a little depressed. Since the last time he rejected the North Star had taken away the 3 treasures of the North Star. Without the purple ribbon starry robe, Feng Zichen used starlight to weave a Dharma robe to cover his body. However, a Dharma robe of such quality could not withstand the violent lightning bolts. Under the bombardment of the lightning bolts, it had long been turned into ashes. Dazzling divine light burst out and covered Feng Zichen's body. At the same time, runes fluttered and formed the heaven and earth furnace in his body. After the heaven and earth furnace appeared, it immediately released a suction force, absorbing and refining the power of lightning in his body. It replenished his body and healed the injuries caused by the lightning bolts. Unfortunately, as Feng Zichen continued to go deeper, the power of the lightning bolts became stronger. The heaven and earth furnace's speed of refining the lightning bolts could not keep up with the speed of the lightning bolt's destruction. Scorch marks began to appear on his body. At this time, Feng Zichen did not panic. Instead, he activated the Hongmeng Daozhong and entered a state of enlightenment. He slowly understood the changes in his body and explored the principles of yin and yang. Using this as a foundation, He constantly changed the structure of the heaven and earth furnace and strengthened its power. As time passed, the yin and yang Taoist rhymes gradually appeared on the heaven and earth furnace, and its power doubled. No matter how much lightning bolts rushed into Feng Zichen's body, they could all be absorbed and refined to replenish his body. Just like this, Feng Zichen endured the lightning bolts in the sky for 100 years. He passed through the thunder forest, crossed the long rivers formed by lightning bolts, and climbed over the steep thunder mountains. Finally, he arrived at the 5th level of the Thunder Lock. The scenery at the 5th level of the Thunder Lock was different. Here, the lightning bolts turned into all kinds of creatures and pounced on Feng Zichen. A flood dragon stood up with its legs and tail propped on the ground. Its eyes were like 2 fiery suns. It opened its mouth and spewed out endless lightning bolts that drowned Feng Zichen. Feng Zichen extended his hand and grabbed. The Zichen sword appeared and scattered endless sword beams to destroy the lightning bolts. Following that, he slashed with the sword again. Resplendent sword beams appeared with endless starlight intertwined within. Immediately, the flood dragon's body split into 2 and dissipated into lightning bolts. Sensing the anomaly, powerful lightning beasts appeared and charged at Feng Zichen. Feng Zichen did not stand on ceremony. He brandished his sword and wantonly released cyclic sword flash to meet the lightning beasts. This level of the Thunder Lock had countless lightning beasts. There was only one way to clear this level of the Thunder Lock: kill. Amidst the encirclement of the lightning beasts, a path to the 6th level of the Thunder Lock was carved out. Feng Zichen brandished his sword and blocked a lightning bolt shot out by a lightning tiger. With a flip of his hand, a sword beam appeared and killed a lightning wolf that pounced in front of him. With another move, a cold beam flashed and accompanied by starlight. Another few lightning beasts shattered and dissipated into lightning bolts. However, after the lightning beasts dissipated, a wisp of yin-yang creation chi appeared and flew into Feng Zichen's body. There are such benefits from killing lightning beasts. Upon seeing this, Feng Zichen was delighted. When the yin-yang creation chi entered his body, it caused his body to produce all sorts of mystical effects and Dao charms. How could Feng Zichen not be delighted? Having found motivation, Feng Zichen's sword beams turned sharper. As the sword beams flashed, the endless sea of lightning beasts were slain. He even took the initiative to pounce on the lightning beasts. He spun around in the beast horde and slashed in all directions. Sacrifice! Feng Zichen suddenly roared as he brandished his sword. The sword beam immediately expanded, transforming into a gigantic sword that spanned 500 kilometers. As it swept forward, countless lightning beasts were sliced apart at the waist and immediately disintegrated. After the sword beam slew the lightning beasts, it did not vanish. Instead, it shattered and transformed into 365 sword beams. They crisscrossed and enveloped the surroundings, killing the lightning beasts. In this battle with the lightning beasts, Feng Zichen did not use any divine powers. Instead, he focused on using the cyclic sword art against his enemies. He planned on using this opportunity to hone his cyclic sword art. The cyclic sword art was created by his observation of Zhouxing. It contained the principles of Zhouxing and could be dissected into countless sword arts. Although it was not very powerful at present, it had infinite potential. It could be used as a cornerstone Dharma art. Chapter 59. It was a rare opportunity to engage in an intense battle with the lightning beasts. He took the opportunity to cast the heavenly cycle sword art. He wanted to find the flaws in the sword art and perfect it so that it could be passed down as a cornerstone dharmic art in the future. Roar! Feng Zichen slaughtered his way through the horde of lightning beasts. None of the lightning beasts were his match. The 5th lightning lock quaked as boundless lightning gathered. A divine dragon appeared, emanating a horrifying suppressive might. After the divine dragon appeared, it suddenly exerted its strength. As the dragon claws moved, it lifted up its enormous body like an endless mountain range. The moment it moved, thunder rumbled. It raised its claw and smacked down at Feng Zichen with a force that could topple mountains and overturn seas. The divine dragon was completely formed from lightning. As it brandished its claw, lightning runes covered it. The 5 elemental powers flowed incessantly, transforming into 5 elemental divine lightning. When the claw smacked down, it produced a myriad of phenomena that caused the void to tremble. "Nice one!" Feng Zichen roared as the surrounding cyclic sword flash gathered once again, transforming into a resplendent sword beam that cleaved at the dragon's claw. With a loud boom, the cyclic sword flash and 5 elemental divine lightning collided and shattered, dissipating into nothingness. The dragon's claw paused slightly due to the impact. Feng Zichen took the opportunity to transform into a sword beam and rapidly flew out from under the dragon's claw. Following that, Feng Zichen powered the Zichen sword with all his might. His body transformed into a sword beam that constantly slithered around the divine dragon's body as he brandished the Zichen sword in his hand. Clang, 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 clang. Sword beams flashed incessantly, from the 1 yuan to the 10 directions, and from the 10 directions to all things. They slashed at the divine dragon's body, instantly slicing it from head to tail. The sword beams were resplendent as they landed on the divine dragon's body, obliterating the Tao patterns and shattering the dragon's scales. They constantly destroyed the divine dragon's body. However, the divine dragon was connected to the 5th lightning lock. Just as its body was damaged, boundless lightning gathered and mended the divine dragon's body. Is this a cheat? Feng Zichen took a deep breath as he dodged the divine dragon's tail sweep. Immediately after, the divine dragon turned its head and opened its mouth. Boundless lightning engulfed him. Amidst the lightning, Feng Zichen let out a muffled groan as he was electrocuted. Then, the thick and heavy dragon tail swept over and swept him away. "Very good, this is the first time I've been so miserable." Feng Zichen barely managed to stop himself from falling. Holding his sword, he stood up straight. His acupuncture points lit up one by one. Shadows of deities emerged, surrounding him and protecting him. Feng Zichen's aura surged as he raised the Zichen sword high and cast the cyclic sword art with all his might. Divine light flowed on the sword, and endless starlight fell from the sky. The divine light and the starlight collided and turned into rays of dazzling sword light. They surged endlessly and emitted a powerful pressure. Even the void around them was distorted. "Ha!" With a deep shout, Feng Zichen swung his sword at the incoming dragon. In an instant, dazzling sword radiance erupted. Streaks of sword radiance grew in the wind and turned into thousands of miles long. They surrounded the divine dragon in the center and stirred wildly. The divine dragon let out a long roar. Endless lightning rolled over and merged into its body, repairing its body that was damaged by the sword radiance. At the same time, 2 streaks of lightning shot out from the divine dragon's eyes and shattered Feng Zichen's body. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. In the space of heaven's way, Feng Zichen's true spirit moved. The scattered flesh and blood suddenly stopped and turned into Hongmeng Qi. They reformed Feng Zichen's body in the distance. After stabilizing his body, Feng Zichen was furious and embarrassed. He waved his sword in the air. The sword radiance in the distance suddenly vibrated and formed into formations. 2 forms, 3 powers for divisions. All kinds of sword formations appeared and completely sealed the space around the divine dragon, cutting off its connection with the 5th-level Luais. Then, the sword formations released endless sword qi and slashed at the divine dragon. In an instant, sword qi was everywhere. Soon, the divine dragon was drowned by the sword qi. In the sword formation, the divine dragon first waved its dragon claws and twisted its body to destroy the sword qi. Then, the divine dragon opened its mouth and spat out a breath. It turned into a thunderstorm and forced the sword qi to retreat. Then, the divine dragon let out an angry roar. The sword qi in the sky was destroyed and the sword formation kept shaking. The roar was not the roar of a dragon but the sound of thunder. It was the sound of thunder. If not for the support of Zhouxing, the sword formation would have been destroyed by the roar. Even so, the space sealed by the sword formation trembled. It was hit by the lightning and shattered on the spot, allowing the divine dragon to reconnect with the 5th level Luais. Condense. Feng Zichen held his sword and rearranged the sword formation according to the order of 1 origin, 2 forms, 3 powers. He connected the sword formation and made it cycle. It suppressed the void and killed everything. The divine dragon that had just connected with the Luais was suppressed by the sword formation again. Before it could react, the sword formation released 10 rays of sword radiance and cut the divine dragon into 11 pieces. Without the replenishment of the 5th level Luais, the divine dragon could no longer recover its body. With a wail, the divine dragon shattered and turned into lightning. Only a ball of yin-yang creation chi was left and flew into Feng Zichen's body. Rays of mysterious Dao light were emitted from Feng Zichen's body. Blurry runes appeared on his bones and emitted the aura of Dao. These were Dao runes. When these runes were completely clear and covered Feng Zichen's body, he had completely transformed into a Pangu Dao body. It was much stronger than an ordinary innate God-fiend body. After recovering his dermic powers, Feng Zichen continued to go deeper. Not long after, he encountered the 2nd divine dragon. This divine dragon was stronger and more real than the previous one. Although this divine dragon was stronger, after the previous battle, the heavenly cycle sword technique had been refined and its power had improved. After a bloody battle, Feng Zichen killed the divine dragon and obtained another ball of yin-yang creation chi. Then, on the way to the 6th level Luais, Feng Zichen encountered the 3rd divine dragon, the 4th divine dragon. After a series of battles, the heavenly cycle sword technique's power continued to increase. As the sword radiance flowed, it looked like it was going to tear through the void. It was extremely terrifying. Even Zichen's sword benefited greatly from the baptism of lightning. The innate spirit light on it shone brighter, and there were faint innate Taoist rhymes. On the other hand, the Dao runes on Feng Zichen's body became clearer and the aura of Dao became denser. After a few decades, Feng Zichen finally arrived at the end of the 5th level Luais. The 9th divine dragon? Seeing the divine dragon lying in front of the 6th level Luais, Feng Zichen knew that this was the last divine dragon. Without any hesitation, Feng Zichen charged forward with Zichen's sword and fought the divine dragon. The divine dragon guarding the 6th level of the Luai's chi was extremely real, as if it was a real life. Its power had reached the pinnacle of the golden immortal realm, and every move it made was accompanied by endless lightning. A few days later, Feng Zichen leaned on Zichen's sword and panted heavily to support his body. A rib bone drilled out from under his armpit and the broken bone was exposed. Crimson blood flowed out continuously. And in front of him, the 9th divine dragon was lying on the ground covered in injuries and was in the process of collapsing. Moments later, a large ball of yin-yang creation chi surged into Feng Zichen's body. Chapter 60. With this help, the runes in Feng Zichen's body became clearer. They flowed on his bones and exuded a mysterious aura. As the runes flowed, wisps of purple gas appeared and merged with his bones. His bones gradually turned purple. When the yin-yang creation chi was exhausted, Feng Zichen was surrounded by purple light and the aura of the great Dao filled the air. All the bones in his body had turned purple, shining brightly like purple jade. Connate Taoist bones. Half a Pangu Taoist body? After experiencing the changes in his body, Feng Zichen understood. The yin-yang creation chi was limited. It could not completely transform him into a Pangu Taoist body. It could only transform his bones into Connate Taoist bones. Is it not enough? Feng Zichen moved his body to adapt to the sudden increase in strength. He walked toward the 6th layer of the Thunder Lock. Not enough? It's okay. There's another layer of the Thunder Lock. It should be enough. In the 6th layer of the Thunder Lock, the thunderbolts turned into Taoist artifacts. There were furnaces, towers, bells. All kinds of Taoist artifacts came at Feng Zichen. Feng Zichen did not dare to be careless when he felt the Taoist aura on the Taoist artifacts. He roared and unleashed all his strength. In an instant, he performed several grand theurgies and fought with the Taoist artifacts. Boom, boom, boom. For a moment, there were sounds of explosions. However, just as Feng Zichen was fighting with the Taoist artifacts, there were waves in the East Sea again. Ever since Nuwa became a saint, the three pure ones had been unhappy. As the first living being born in the Eldritch land, the Taoist ancestor had endless luck. It was fine if they could not beat him. However, after the Taoist ancestor, the first one to become a saint was their junior sister, Nuwa, and not the three pure ones. The three pure ones, who had always been proud and arrogant, found it hard to accept. Therefore, when Nuwa created the Wahuang heaven, the three pure ones did not congratulate her. Even though he knew that he would definitely become a saint, the three purities were still anxious. Nuwa had been a saint for tens of thousands of years, but the three of them had yet to see the shadow of a saint. What should they do? With no other choice, the three of them could only travel around the untainted land in search of an opportunity to become a saint. Above the East Sea, blue waves billowed and the water sparkled. A young Taoist walked on the waves, walking aimlessly on the surface of the sea. Suddenly, the young Taoist exclaimed softly. He had an inexplicable feeling in his heart, as if something was attracting him. Interesting. Who would have thought that there would be a treasure in the East Sea that would be fated with the poor way? How interesting. His interest was piqued. The Taoist smiled and walked towards the depths of the Eastern Sea. It was heading towards the Penglai Immortal Island. Why do I feel like something is going to happen? And in the Penglai Immortal Island, Xianxia, who was in seclusion, suddenly felt uneasy and woke up from his meditation. He couldn't help but frown and pinch his fingers to calculate. What's going on? Why can't I calculate it? After calculating for a long time, Xianxia only felt that the heavenly secrets were in chaos. No matter how he used all kinds of methods, he couldn't pry into it at all. This time, Xianxia was completely shocked. With the support of the three Immortal Island and the 12th grade Pure White Lotus, he could pry into it, except for Daluo Jingxian and above. But now, he couldn't calculate anything. Doesn't that mean that there's a power at the level of Daluo Jingxian targeting him? Thinking of this, the Khanate Three Talents formation outside the three Immortal Islands suddenly vibrated and burst out a destructive aura that swept in all directions. Shocked, Xianxia hurriedly came to the center of the formation and looked into the formation. He saw a young Taoist wearing a purple robe and a Taiyuan golden crown on his head, surrounded by immortal light, walking into the Khanate Three Talents formation. Who is this person? Although he was confused about the origin of this person, the Three Immortal Island was of great importance and he couldn't let outsiders enter. Immediately, Xianxia jumped into the formation and personally controlled the Khanate Three Talents formation. He activated the power of the formation to the extreme, intending to force the Taoist to retreat. As Xianxia activated the formation, in an instant, the three talents were in chaos, and the heaven and earth were in chaos. Everything was destroyed, and waves of chaotic aura surged toward the young Taoist. Good timing. When the Taoist saw the chaotic aura coming, he was not surprised. Instead, he was overjoyed. He flipped his right hand and took out a green sword. With a light wave, green light flowed on the sword, and green lotus leaves were derived, suppressing the chaotic aura. This is... After the green sword appeared, the 12th grade Pure White Lotus suddenly trembled, revealing a sense of excitement, as if it had met a family member. Qingping sword. Xianxia recognized the origin of the sword. Suddenly, as if he was struck by lightning, his whole body froze, and he was so shocked that he couldn't speak. After the Chaos Supreme Treasure, the 36th grade Green Lotus of Creation, was shattered, its main body fell into Mount Buzhou, and turned into the 24th grade Green Lotus of Creation. This treasure was born with the fortune of opening the heavens, and had the possibility of returning to being a Chaos Supreme Treasure. It was not tolerated by the heaven and earth. For this reason, the heavenly Tao specially lured Taoist three purities over, and used his Pangu aura to destroy this treasure. At that time, the three purities had just been born, and were only in the Tai Jingxian realm. After encountering the 24th grade Green Lotus of Creation, they were naturally very excited. However, there was only one supreme treasure, and the three purities were three people. They didn't know who should control this treasure. Just as the three of them were in a dilemma, the Pangu imprint in their bodies suddenly trembled, and a sense of enlightenment surfaced in their hearts. Taoist Tai Ching shouted, "Lotus root." The lotus root turned into a coiling dragon crutch. Taoist Yu Qing shouted, "Red flower." The flower of the green lotus of creation turned into a three-treasured rui. Xianxia shouted, "Lotus leaf." The lotus leaf turned into the Qingping sword. These three treasures were the treasures of the three purities, and were formed from the 24th grade green lotus of creation. They were all supreme grade Khanate numinous treasures. It proved that the red flower, green leaf, and white lotus root, the three purities, were originally one family. After regaining his senses, Xianxia looked at the young Taoist within the Khanate tripartite formation, and could not hide the shock in his heart. This person held the Qingping sword, and his body was filled with the qi of Taiyuan. Wasn't this Pangu's Taoist Xianxia? Although Xianxia had long planned to become Xianxia's disciple, Taoist Xianxia's sudden appearance at his doorstep still caused him to panic. In the sixth layer of the Thunder Lake, Feng Zichen was fighting against a Tao artifact with great difficulty. When he suddenly received this news, he could not help but be distracted. A lightning cauldron found an opportunity and sucked him in. Within the lightning cauldron, countless bolts of lightning gathered, and was filled with an incomparably blazing radiance. The rumbling of thunder could be heard, and the Tao of thunder was activated. An incomparably ferocious refining force and suppressing force surged from all directions, causing Feng Zichen's bones to crackle and his flesh to crumble. If not for his strong innate Tao bones, he would have crumbled. This lightning cauldron wanted to refine Feng Zichen with the power of heaven and earth and the might of thunder. Chapter 61. In the Thunder Cauldron, Feng Zichen could no longer care about training himself. He immediately threw out the Hongmeng Daozhong and sat down cross-legged. The Hongmeng Daozhong grew with the wind and turned into a few feet in size in the air. Hanging above Feng Zichen's head, strands of Hongmeng Qi hung down and protected him, blocking the surging lightning. At the same time, Xianxia also gave up on controlling the formation and sat down cross-legged, keeping the same position as Feng Zichen. In the space of the heavenly axiom, Feng Zichen's real spirit burst out a bright light, resonating with Xianxia's real spirit in the East Sea. Then, the two real spirits trembled at the same frequency. Xianxia's sea of consciousness churned and the space of the heavenly axiom descended. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Xianxia's real spirit rushed out of his primordial spirit and fell into the space of the heavenly axiom, merging with Feng Zichen's real spirit. Boom! The two real spirits merged and became complete instantly. An even brighter immortal light of Tao was born, illuminating the space of the heavenly axiom and reflecting the Tao of heaven and earth. Suppressing the desire to upgrade his real spirit, Feng Zichen focused his attention on Xianxia. When he was refining the doppelganger, Feng Zichen knew that this real spirit would return to the main body sooner or later. Therefore, Xianxia walked the path of the primordial spirit and not the path of the real spirit to prepare for future use. But he did not expect this day to come so soon. He injected a strand of thought into Xianxia's primordial spirit. Xianxia, who was slightly sluggish due to the loss of his real spirit, regained his vigor. With a thought, the 12th grade white lotus of purification flew into his glabella and appeared under the feet of his primordial spirit. It released rays of white light and wrapped the primordial spirit, covering it from the mysteries of heaven. With the endorsement of the heavenly axiom, the 12th grade white lotus of purification was covering the mysteries of heaven. In addition, Taoist Xianxia had yet to become a saint. He would not be able to discover Xianxia's abnormality. Taoist Xianxia's sudden visit disrupted many of Feng Zichen's plans. He originally planned to cultivate until he reached the peak of the golden immortal realm, then retrieve his real spirit and use it to break through to the Tai Jingxian realm. Unfortunately, with his arrival, all the plans had changed. If he were to use this true spirit to meet Taoist Xianxia in the future when the true spirit left his body, if Taoist Xianxia did not notice any abnormalities, then he would not be a saint. Rumble. Not long after Feng Zichen retracted his real spirit, Taoist Xianxia tore a gap in the innate tripartite formation under his fierce attacks, allowing him to reach the Three Immortal Island. I never thought that there would be such a place of good fortune in the East Sea. It's only one level lower than the Kunlun Mountain. This should be the legendary Three Immortal Island. Stepping into the Immortal Island of Penglai, Taoist Xianxia looked around and sighed with emotion. Little Dao Xianqing greets Senior. May I know why Senior is here? Taking a deep breath, Xianqing strode before Taoist Xianxia. He bowed respectfully before speaking cautiously. Xianqing's identity had never left the Three Immortal Island, so how could he recognize Taoist Xianxia? Therefore, Xianqing's face was filled with uneasiness, nervousness, and a trace of cautiousness. He looked like a newbie meeting a big boss for the first time. Does this place already have an owner? What a pity! Shaking his head, Taoist Xianxia sighed regretfully. What kind of person was he, Xianxia? Pangu was a true disciple of the celestial sect of wonders, the future sage of the Great Desolation. Although this place was good, it was not enough for him to throw away his pride and occupy someone else's place of enlightenment. Don't worry. The poor Wei only sensed that there was something strange about this place and thought that a treasure had appeared, so he came to check it out. He did not expect this place to already have an owner. Don't worry. The poor Wei is not capable of occupying someone else's place of enlightenment. Hearing the nervousness in Xianqing's voice, Taoist Xianxia smiled and turned around to comfort him. The moment he saw Xianqing, Taoist Xianxia felt a sense of closeness. He could not help but cry out in surprise and quickly looked over with his transcendence vision. What he saw was a ball of bright clear light with runes of the great Tao fluttering within it. Clear spiritual qi circulated endlessly. It was the innate clear qi origin. Taoist Xianxia was shocked and hurriedly calculated in his heart. As far as his mind could see, the mysteries of heaven were boundless. He could only see that when heaven and earth first opened, a ball of innate clear qi origin fell into the island and turned into the Taoist in front of him. Good. I didn't expect that other than the poor Wei and the other two, there would be an innate god-demon born from the innate clear qi origin in the Great Desolation. What a surprise! After calculating Xianqing's origin, Taoist Xianxia could not hide his excitement. He said, "Good," 3 times in a row, his happiness overflowing from his words. The poor Wei is Taoist Xianxia of Kunlun Mountains Pangu, Taoist Xianxia. Putting away the Qingping sword, Taoist Xianxia smiled and introduced himself. Penglai Island's Xianqing greets the Xianxia Taoist priests. Although he had guessed the identity of the Taoist in front of him, Xianqing was still shocked to hear him admit it. The 3 purities. The peak that the later generations could not surpass, the great existence that watched the rise and fall of the Great Desolation. Now that he appeared in front of him like this, if it was not for his increasing cultivation level, Xianqing would have been shouting. Calling him the Taoist priests? That was because, the Daoyuo, the sovereign of the Tao. When seeing the Daoyuo Jingxian and the quasi-sage, it was fine if one did not know how to address them, but calling them the Taoist priests was definitely not wrong. Although the quasi-sage was strong, its essence was still the Daoyuo Jingxian. This was the realm that the Tao ancestors divided after they attained Tao. Before the ancient times and even during the chaotic era, after the Daoyuo Jingxian, it was the primordial Daoyuo Jingxian. Therefore, in the ancient times, the strength of the Daoyuo Jingxian could be as different as heaven and earth. After sizing up Xianqing for a while, Taoist Xianxia became more and more satisfied. He secretly nodded and said seriously, "Thou, are you willing to take me as your teacher?" An innate god-demon born from the innate clear qi origin was half a relative of the 3 purities. He was simply a disciple that was tailor-made for the 3 purities. The more Taoist Xianxia looked at him, the more satisfied he was. As for Xianqing's secrets, Taoist Xianxia did not care. An innate god-demon was born from the heaven and earth. It was normal for him to have secrets. On the contrary, if he could easily figure out everything, then there would be a real problem. Xianqing had originally planned to take Taoist Xianxia as his teacher. How could he refuse? Without any hesitation, he immediately bowed and said, "Disciple Xianxia pays his respects to teacher." As Xianxia bowed, Xianxia's fate on the river of destiny vibrated and connected with the fate of the three purities. At the same time, above the 9 heavens, a clear qi appeared and fell into the fate of the three purities and the purities, strengthening their fate. This was the fate that came with the innate clear qi origin. Now that the innate clear qi origin was complete, it naturally attracted the favor of the innate clear qi and bestowed fate. In the wilderness, Taoist Xianxia and Taoist Xianxia, who were traveling, sensed the change in their fate and quickly calculated. After a while, Taoist Xianxia smiled and did not say anything as he rushed towards Mount Kunlun. "Third brother, it is indeed a joyous occasion for Mount Kunlun. We must celebrate." Taoist Xianxia laughed and returned to Mount Kunlun. On Penglai Island, Taoist Xianxia did not have the mood to continue traveling in the East Sea after taking in a disciple. He immediately pulled Xianxia and rushed towards Mount Kunlun. "Teacher, wait, I have not set up a formation to hide the three immortal island," Xianxia said anxiously. He did not know when he would return from Mount Kunlun. If Penglai Island was occupied during this period of time, Xianxia would have nowhere to cry. Chapter 62. "Ha! This is easy." Amidst his laughter, Taoist Xianxia pulled Xianxia and flew out of the island. With a wave of his hand, an invisible light screen appeared and turned into a formation that enveloped the entire three immortal island. This is the innate yin-yang dust formation created by your eldest martial uncle. It can complement the innate yin-yang tripartite formation on your island and evolve the Tao of yin-yang tripartite. In this way, even a sage-to-be would have to spend thousands of years to break this formation. In the air, Taoist Xianxia explained to Xianxia. "Thank you, master." Xianxia immediately thanked him. "It's all right. You are the disciple of the poor way. This is nothing." Taoist Xianxia waved his hand and said indifferently. Then, Taoist Xianxia summoned a cloud and carried Xianxia to Mount Kunlun. Inside the Thunder Cauldron, after settling Xianxia's matter, Feng Zichen regained his senses and began to deal with the situation in front of him. Clang! The melodious sound of a bell rang and the space began to collapse layer by layer. The surrounding lightning was instantly dispersed and destroyed. Then, Feng Zichen raised his hand and the 6 directions divine beasts appeared and collided with the 6 sides of the Thunder Cauldron. Boom! The Thunder Cauldron shattered and turned into a sky full of lightning that was absorbed by Feng Zichen. When the lightning entered his body, it automatically turned into yin-yang qi of creation and circulated in Feng Zichen's body. Wherever the yin-yang qi of creation arrived, runes of the great Tao appeared in his flesh and blood, constantly transforming his body. Great! With a shout, Feng Zichen took the initiative to attack. He punched the thunder pagoda beside him and blasted it into lightning and absorbed it into his body. Perfected true spirit caused Feng Zichen's strength to improve greatly. The Thunder Tao artifacts that were evenly matched earlier were no longer his opponents and were destroyed by him one by one. One by one, the Thunder Tao artifacts shattered and turned into balls of yin-yang qi of creation that surged into Feng Zichen's body, causing his entire body to glow. In his flesh and blood, the runes of the Great Tao became brighter and clearer. They rumbled and released the aura of the Great Tao. The closer he got to Panga's Taoist body, the more powerful Feng Zichen's aura became. In the end, with a loud roar, the surrounding Tao artifacts were all shattered, and everything within a radius of 5,000 kilometers was cleared. After the lightning disappeared, Feng Zichen did not let down his guard. Instead, he looked around cautiously. It was definitely not a good thing for the Luai's lock to suddenly calm down. It meant that the Luai's lock was preparing for a stronger attack. Phew! A sudden change occurred in the Thunder Lock. Boundless thunderbolts swarmed over and formed a giant furnace that exuded heavenly might. Feng Zichen understood when he sensed the heavenly might emanating from the furnace. This was the Heaven and Earth Furnace, a Tao furnace formed by the true power of heaven and earth. Lightning was the foundation that the Heaven Tao commanded all things, and it controlled the life and death of all things. Thus, the power of lightning was the power of the heavenly Tao. After the heaven and earth furnace was formed, it shook and released a powerful suction force that directly sucked Feng Zichen in. After falling into the furnace, before Feng Zichen could react, the heavenly might pressed down and the refining power attacked him from all directions. At the same time, on the walls of the furnace, countless runes intertwined and formed the shadow of 10,000 spirits that pounced on him. In his spiritual sense, the shadow of the Emperor's star appeared and forced the heavenly might to retreat, allowing Feng Zichen to stand up again. Then, the runes of the great Tao lit up one by one and blocked the refining power that was surging over. Boom! Dazzling divine light erupted from Feng Zichen's body and turned into a sky full of sword radiance that swept in all directions and met the shadow of 10,000 spirits that came whistling over. Feng Zichen's flesh and blood splattered. The refining power of the heaven and earth furnace was terrifying. His half-completed Panga Daoist body could not withstand it at all. In just a moment, the runes of the great Tao dimmed and shattered, and his body was torn apart. At this moment, streams of yin-yang creation qi surged into Feng Zichen's body and reformed the runes of the great Tao to repair the injuries caused by the refining power. This is, as if he felt something, Feng Zichen looked around and saw the sword radiance sweeping in all directions, killing the shadow of 10,000 spirits that turned into yin-yang creation qi and flew toward him. Suddenly, he felt that as the yin-yang creation qi and the refining power resisted, a lot of impurities in his body were refined out. After the runes of the great Tao were shattered and reformed, they became tougher and clearer. The heaven and earth furnace is both a dangerous place and a place of opportunity. Feng Zichen suddenly had a clear understanding in his heart. Everything had a chance of survival. This heaven and earth furnace was formed by the power of the great Tao, so how could it kill people? Next, he killed the shadow of 10,000 spirits, resisted the refining power, and evolved Pangu Daozhong's body. At the same time, he used the power of Hongmeng Daozhong to observe the structure of the heaven and earth furnace and adjust the furnace in his body to increase its power. Sacrifice. In the end, Feng Zichen even took the initiative to sacrifice his real spirit and let it bathe in the thunder and lightning to withstand the refining power and quench the hidden dangers caused by the sudden increase in his real spirit. After an unknown period of time, all the spirits in the furnace were destroyed and no new yin-yang creation qi was produced. Feng Zichen's body and real spirit faced the refining power directly. Suddenly, endless runes of the great Tao flew and covered Feng Zichen's body. No matter how much the refining power surged, it could not hurt him at all. My Taoist body has been formed. What can the heaven and earth furnace do to me? With a loud laugh, Feng Zichen stood up and waved the Zichen sword in his hand. A bright sword radiance broke through the walls of the furnace. Then, a Taoist furnace that emitted brilliant heavenly power smashed into the surface of the furnace. Suddenly, the heaven and earth furnace collapsed. Feng Zichen's body was surrounded by Taoist light as he walked out. Behind him, the thunder furnace fell apart and shattered into streaks of lightning. The remaining heavenly Tao aura fell into the heaven and earth furnace in Feng Zichen's body. Under this heavenly Tao aura, the heaven and earth furnace shattered and turned into runes that merged with it. Then, the runes gathered again and formed a brand new furnace that emitted brilliant heavenly power. Since there is already a heaven and earth furnace in the world, you shall be called the heaven and earth Tao furnace from now on, to show that you are one of a kind. Feng Zichen said indifferently as he played with the heaven and earth Tao furnace. After walking out of the heaven and earth furnace, Feng Zichen's appearance was still human, but his inside was already different. His body was surrounded by the aura of the great Tao and covered with innate runes. He was like an innate god. This was the true Khanate Taoist body, the great Tao body that Pangu used when he opened the sky. The so-called Khanate Taoist body of the human race was an imitation of the Khanate Taoist body. It only had the form but not the spirit. Feng Zichen had been baptized by the yin and yang creation qi, causing him to have both form and spirit. He had completely transformed into a Khanate Taoist body. At this time, although his cultivation level had not changed, His strength had increased qualitatively. He was more than 10 times stronger. There were even many miraculous things that had not been revealed yet, waiting for him to discover. Now, with my strength, I should be comparable to those Khanate gods of the same level, right? After transforming into a Khanate Taoist body, Feng Zichen had completely closed the gap between him and the Khanate gods. Chapter 63. At the end of the 5th luais, Feng Zichen's true spirit started to vibrate violently just as he approached the 6th luais. At the same time, the shadow of death loomed over his heart. True spirit warning. Feng Zichen muttered to himself as he stopped and stared at the 6th layer of the Thunder Lock. What's in the 6th luais? Why is my true spirit so scared? Thinking about it, Feng Zichen activated his sun-moon godly eyes, and a black rabbit appeared in his eyes. Gold and silver lights flashed as he looked toward the 6th level of the Thunder Lock. Humph! Before his eyes could reach the 6th luais, a dazzling lightning flashed. Feng Zichen could only see white in front of his eyes and could no longer see anything clearly. He could not help but let out a muffled groan as tears of blood flowed out of his eyes. Is the difference that big? Closing his eyes, Feng Zichen no longer dared to look at the 6th luais. He used his dermic powers to heal the injuries caused by the lightning. He thought that after attaining the Khanate Dao body, he would be able to hold on for a while even if he was no match for the Tai Jingxian. Little did he expect that just a wisp of lightning at the level of a primordial immortal had nearly blinded him. The strength of the Tai Jingxian was not to be underestimated. Seems like I've been too arrogant because of my rapid improvement. After his eyes returned to normal, Feng Zichen let out a self-deprecating laugh. Well, that's good. I need to know my own strength so that I can push myself to improve. I shouldn't be complacent because of my insignificant achievements. Then, Feng Zichen's figure flashed, and he hid in the chaos bead, using its power to enter the 6th level of the Thunder Lock. Kaboom! In the 6th level Leisure, the innate divine lightning was everywhere, emitting a terrifying aura. This innate E with divine lightning, innate in underworld divine lightning, 9 heavens divine lightning, demon slayer divine lightning, all the top divine lightning in the chaos bead are here. Inside the chaos bead, Feng Zichen looked at the divine lightning floating in the void and felt a chill in his heart. If any of the innate divine lightning here were to strike him, he would be severely injured. If a few of them were to strike him at the same time, he would be reduced to ashes. Fortunately, the chaos bead glowed and suppressed all dimensions. Before the Khanate divine lightning could explode, they were all suppressed by the chaos bead and sucked into it. Looking at the Khanate divine lightning around him, Feng Zichen carefully pulled a trace of lightning energy into his body and sensed the Khanate Taoist rhythm within it. Every Khanate divine lightning was a part of the Tao of lightning. If one could fully comprehend the Khanate Taoist, one would be able to master this lightning Tao. Although Feng Zichen was protected by the 10,000 Elephant Divine Thunder, the 10,000 Elephant Divine Thunder was also included in the 10,000 Elephant Divine Thunder. Every time he fused with the innate Divine Thunder, the power of the 10,000 Elephant Divine Thunder would increase. Khanate Divine Lightning was a Khanate Divine Lightning, Khanate was Khanate Lightning. A few hundred years later, a bolt of innate divine lightning struck the chaos bead, causing it to tremble violently. Only then did Feng Zichen realize that he had left the 6th Leisure and arrived at the 7th Leisure. Compared to the 6th Leisure, the 7th Leisure was in a state of chaos. The Khanate divine lightning tangled with each other, devouring each other. Violent energy surged out and caused the dimension to tremble. Has the Khanate divine lightning gone mad? Not daring to let the chaos bead drift on its own, Feng Zichen controlled the chaos bead and carefully avoided the battlefield of the Khanate divine lightning as he rushed to the 8th Leisure. Boom! As if the Tao was rumbling, the entire 7th Leisure boiled. Countless Khanate divine lightning tangled with each other, causing the dimensions to crumble. The chi of destruction overflowed and it looked like the end of the world. Thank goodness I ran fast enough. In the 8th Leisure, Feng Zichen saw the scene behind him and he couldn't help but shudder. He didn't know what happened, but the 7th Leisure suddenly erupted. Fortunately, Feng Zichen was already in the depths of the 7th Leisure, or else it would be difficult for him to escape. Wiping away the cold sweat on his forehead, Feng Zichen controlled the chaos bead and flew forward. The Khanate divine lightning in the 8th Leisure contained a trace of the Khanate lightning origin. Even if Daluo Jingxian was here, he wouldn't dare to underestimate it. However, most of the Khanate divine lightning were gathered in one place, forming a lightning domain. The lightning domain was extremely quiet. Sadness? That's strange. Why is there a sense of sadness coming from this place? Not long after arriving at the 8th Leisure, Feng Zichen felt a sense of sadness and he couldn't help but be surprised. Woo, this sounds like crying. After walking for a while, Feng Zichen heard the sound of crying. Affected by it, Zhong Yu's heart was filled with sadness and he couldn't help but cry. No, this is the Leisure crying. What is happening here? Why would the Leisure be so sad and even cry? Sensing that something was wrong, Feng Zichen stopped abruptly and released his divine sense to cover the area, searching for the source of the change. That is, shocked, Feng Zichen controlled the chaos bead and flew into a lightning domain. This was a lightning domain formed by the Khanate divine lightning and it was filled with Khanate divine lightning. If it was any other time, Feng Zichen would have been greeted with endless Khanate divine lightning. But now, these innate green heaven divine thunders ignored Feng Zichen's intrusion. They were completely immersed in sorrow and appeared to be lethargic. In the depths of the lightning domain, endless Khanate divine lightning gathered and formed an azure lightning palace. Inside it was an innate divine fetus. Arriving in front of the innate divine fetus, Feng Zichen examined it carefully for a moment. He found that the divine fetus was surrounded by evil qi, and its vitality had been exhausted. It was obviously a dead fetus. I knew it. The only thing that could make the Leisure so sad was the fall of an innate god. This divine fetus was the innate god that was born in the Leisure. However, no one knew who was the culprit that stole away the life force of the divine fetus, causing the innate god to become a dead fetus before it could even be born. The chaos bead flashed and he arrived at another lightning domain. Here, the Khanate divine lightning gathered and formed an azure lightning palace where another innate divine fetus was born. But just like before, this innate divine fetus was surrounded by Khanate divine lightning and its life was gone. Then Feng Zichen found the divine lightning palace, crimson sky, bright sky, jade sky, purple sky, and grand sky. Each of the 7 lightning palaces had an innate divine fetus that was surrounded by Khanate divine lightning. How ruthless! No, how dare they? Who did this? Taking away the life of 9 innate divine fetus is equivalent to killing 9 unborn innate gods. Is he not afraid of the heavenly Tao's wrath? Feng Zichen was shocked when he found out what happened in the 8th Leisure. Innate gods were already favored by the heavenly Tao, not to mention the 9 innate gods that were born from the lightning origin. That person actually dared to destroy the 9 firmaments divine embryo, truly audacious. Chapter 64. Sigh. 9 children died in a row. No wonder the Thunderlock is so sad. Feng Zichen sighed and kept the 9 heaven Thunderlock before rushing to the 9th heaven Thunderlock. As for why he kept the 9 heaven Thunderlock, it was because he saw it. Feng Zichen suddenly remembered something. The 9 heaven Thunderlock was where the Southern Extremity Longevity Emperor lived. The Southern Extremity Longevity Emperor, also known as the Jade Pure True King and the Unifying Sage Heavenly Lord, was located at the South Pole and attracted the power of the stars. He was the ancestor of lightning and the source of the thunder god. As one of the 4 Imperials, he ruled over all living beings and controlled the weather of the 4 seasons. He could summon the wind and rain, command the gods of lightning, and control all living beings. As one of the 4 Imperials, the North Pole Emperor ruled over all the stars and controlled the heavens and earth. He led the gods of the 3 realms and was the king of all phenomena. He could summon the wind and rain, command the gods of lightning, and command the gods of lightning. The North Pole Emperor ruled over all the stars and was surrounded by the stars. The Southern Extremity Longevity Emperor was known as the Jade Pure Divine King and was surrounded by the gods of lightning. The power of the gods came from him and was the source of the gods' power. No matter how one looked at it, the powers of the two overlapped. Furthermore, one was the ruler of the North Pole and the other was the ruler of the South Pole. If Feng Zichen wanted to attain the stars in the future, he would have to go through the South Pole star. Now that he encountered the Nine-Heaven Thunderlock, no matter what the Southern Extremity Longevity Emperor did in the future, there was no harm in taking away the Nine-Heaven Thunderlock and cutting off one of his powers. As for whether he would form a karma with the Southern Extremity Longevity Emperor because of this, was this a joke? The powers of the two overlapped so much that it could be said that karma was innately intertwined. What could one more or one less change? When the heavenly court was established in the future, there would be a battle between the two of them. Weakening his power now would increase his chances of winning in the future. Why not? You don't know when you don't think about it, but when you think about it, you get a shock. The appearance of the 4 Imperials and 6 Imperials in the future is the Jade Emperor a mere figurehead? Or is he trying to make Great Emperor Ziwei a mere figurehead? Feng Zichen's mind was filled with thoughts on the way to the 9th level Thunderlock. Putting aside the Jade Emperor and the postnatal Earthly Emperor, while the North Star Emperor commanded the myriad gods, he also assisted the Ziwei Zhongtian in controlling the order of the stars. The Southern Extremity Longevity Emperor overrode the Great Emperor of Ziwei's ability to control lightning. The Eastern Extremity Azure Splendor Emperor resided deep within the underworld, saving countless ghosts. Great Emperor Ziwei, on the other hand, had transformed into the Bane Necropolis Great Emperor to govern the underworld. While the three of them were making the Jade Emperor Hutu a mere figurehead, they were making the Great of Ziwei a figurehead as well. Thinking about the powerful beings behind the three of them, it was truly terrifying. Sigh. The water in the untainted land is really deep, and the heart of the sage is really. Feng Zichen seemed to have thought of something bad, so he stopped talking and flew to the 9th level of the Thunderlock. No wonder no one has been able to obtain the Thunder Tribulation Dao fruit since the Thunderlock was born. Standing in front of the 9th level Luais, Feng Zichen sucked in a breath of cold air as he stared at the boundless destructive lightning. If Tai Jingxian could pass through it on his own, why would he need the Thunder Tribulation Dao fruit? He could have attained the Dao of Daluo on his own. As the destructive lightning swam, the air of destruction overflowed, destroying everything in its path. The Chaos Bead is only an upper-grade innate spiritual treasure. It can protect itself from the destructive lightning, but I'm afraid it can't protect me. After giving it some thought, Feng Zichen decided to use the Hongmeng Daozhong. With the power of an ultimate-grade innate spiritual treasure, it should be able to withstand the destructive lightning. Buzz. Before Feng Zichen could use the Hongmeng Daozhong, the innate merit points in his mind suddenly flew out and hovered behind his head, releasing an immeasurable amount of light that illuminated the entire world. Wherever the light shone, the destructive lightning retreated as if it had met its nemesis, opening up a path for Feng Zichen. Pangu is so thoughtful. Feng Zichen praised inwardly. Then he stepped into the 9th level Luais and walked deeper into it. As the saying goes, when things reach an extreme, they will move in the opposite direction. When the destructive energy gathered, it would naturally give birth to endless energy of creation. When the destructive lightning gathered in the 9th level Luais, there was bound to be an opportunity of creation in its depths. Decades later, under the illumination of the innate merit points, Feng Zichen crossed the vast sea of lightning and arrived at the deepest part of the Luais, the source of creation. Rumble. Streaks of white lightning flashed in the air, looking extremely sacred. The rich aura of creation hit Feng Zichen right in the face, energizing him. The divine thunder of creation gave birth to all things and created all things. Only this item could destroy the innate ferocious qi without harming the seed of the world tree. Without hesitation, Feng Zichen threw the chaos bead into the sea of lightning before him. In an instant, a strong suction force came and sucked in the chaos bead, bombarding the seed of the world tree. Under the bombardment of the divine thunder of creation, black chaotic ferocious chi appeared and swam around the seed of the world tree. It crazily devoured the origin of the seed of the world tree to resist the attack of the divine thunder of creation. Not enough? Then let's go harder. Feng Zichen's mind moved, and the chaos bead suddenly expanded to thousands of miles in size, sucking in all the divine thunder of creation within hundreds of thousands of miles. As if the sea of lightning was crashing down, the chaos bead started to boil. The chaotic chi and the divine thunder of creation surged towards the seed of the world tree. With the help of the divine thunder of creation, the seed of the world tree shone brightly. All kinds of Tao rules turned into divine chains and wrapped around the seed. Amid the buzzing sound, the chaotic ferocious chi rose inch by inch and was forced out of the seed of the world tree. Seeing this, Feng Zichen hurriedly squeezed the chaos bead and produced 9 streaks of chaotic chi into the seed of the world tree. Kacha! The sound of Tao reverberated, as if the chaos had broken and heaven and earth had been opened. A crack appeared on the world tree, and 3 roots grew out, symbolizing the meaning of all things. The 3 roots were thin and weak, but they were extremely ferocious. As soon as they appeared, they swept towards the connate ferocious chi and took root in it, absorbing the power of the chaotic ferocious chi to strengthen themselves. The pitiful chaotic ferocious chi was suppressed by the divine thunder of creation and could not resist. It could only watch as its origin was drained bit by bit. TSK. This world tree is really vengeful. Feng Zichen watched from the side and was secretly amazed. The world tree could devour all the power in the world, and the chaotic ferocious chi was no exception. In the past, the chaotic ferocious chi was powerful, and the world tree was weak and could not fight against it. Now that the situation had changed, the chaotic ferocious chi had become a rootless source, and the world tree had improved greatly with the help of the divine thunder of creation. Naturally, it had to compensate it well. Oh no! However, a moment later, Feng Zichen's expression changed drastically. He could not help but shout and throw the world tree out of the chaos bead. It turned out that the world tree was not satisfied after absorbing the chaotic ferocious chi. As its roots floated, it plunged into the origin of the chaos bead and absorbed its origin power. Feng Zichen reacted quickly and threw the world tree out in time to cut off its connection with the chaos bead. However, the world tree still took away a lot of chaotic origin power. Accompanied by 2 bangs, the 2 connate divine seals in the chaos bead shattered, and the light dimmed significantly. Chapter 65. This world tree is so cruel. Looking at the dim chaos bead, Feng Zichen's heart ached. The damage to the chaos bead could only be repaired by swallowing an upper-grade innate spiritual treasure. Feng Zichen had suffered a great loss. On the other hand, the world tree had benefited greatly from the chaos bead's origin. In the thunder ocean of creation, the seed of the world tree had completely turned into a sapling and was growing taller. As the branches and leaves stretched, streaks of chaos vital chi hung down. As the roots grew, they extended into the depths of the void and connected with the endless dimensions. It was like the source of the great Tao. All great Taos were born from its body. The patterns on its body were the essence of the great Tao, containing endless mysteries. Its branches and leaves lifted the boundless void as if to hold up the entire world. The process of the world tree's germination was like the birth of the great Tao. Witnessing all of this, Feng Zichen felt his true spirit become clear and his connection with the great Tao became closer. After the world tree had completely digested the chaos vital chi and the chaos bead's origin, its growth slowed down. At this time, the world tree had grown into a giant tree and was crazily swallowing the creation lightning around it. The creation lightning in the center of the luais seemed endless. After being swallowed by the world tree for so long, the creation lightning did not decrease at all. Instead, it kept coming from all directions for the world tree to grow. As expected of the chaos spiritual root, all great Taos are in it. It's so mysterious. Waking up from his enlightenment, Feng Zichen looked at the world tree in front of him and sighed from the bottom of his heart. After that, seeing that the world tree was still absorbing the creation lightning, Feng Zichen took out the 9th Heaven Thunder Palace. He planned to use the power of the creation lightning to refine the evil chi in the 9th Heaven Thunder Palace and see if he could revive the innate godly fetus. As soon as he took out the 9th Heaven Thunder Palace, Feng Zichen felt the Luai's lock trembling continuously. A sense of sadness shrouded the entire lock, making people cry. Woo-woo, a sobbing sound came from the void. Drops of creation lightning water fell, containing undissolvable sadness. Tears of the Luais? Feeling the sadness of the Thunder Lake, the 9 Heaven Thunder Palace flew up into the sky on its own. The lightning around its body flickered and released a sense of sadness, resonating with the Thunder Lake. In the next moment, the thunder water of fortune in the void suddenly froze. Then, it rushed toward the innate divine fetus in the 9th Heaven Thunder Mansion, washing away the innate evil chi on him. The thunder water of creation was born from the will of the Thunder Lock and contained the innate thunder origin. It could even destroy chaotic baleful chi, let alone innate baleful chi. In just a few moments, the innate baleful chi on the innate godly fetus disappeared, and it regained its divine appearance. After washing away the innate baleful chi, the fortune thunder water didn't recede. Instead, it surged into the innate divine fetus and turned into endless vitality, attempting to revive the divine fetus. However, the connate divine fetus was born after billions of years of nurturing by the Thunder Lock. No matter how miraculous the thunder water of creation was, how could it compare to the billions of years of accumulation of the Thunder Lock? After the fortune lightning water surged into the innate divine fetus, not only was it ineffective, it even stimulated the innate divine fetus, causing it to emit waves of death and resentment. In an instant, the innate godly embryo's aura changed drastically, and the sacred aura dispersed. Horrifying death chi mixed with thick resentment wrapped around the divine fetus, forcing the fortune thunder water to retreat. What a thick resentment! Well, it was killed before it was even born. How could the resentment not be strong? Feng Zichen took a few steps back, distancing himself from the 9 Heavens Thunder Manor, afraid that he would be tainted by the resentment. If it was tainted by the death chi, it would be fine as it could be removed with some effort. But if it was tainted by the resentment, it would be a different story. The Chaos Demon God's resentment directly gave birth to the ferocious beast race, wreaking havoc in the Eldritch Wilderness for countless years, and no one could stop them. Although the innate gods weren't as strong as the Chaos Demon God, they were born in the Eldritch Wilderness and had the home advantage. Who knew what kind of side effects the resentment they gave birth to would have? It was better to stay away from this kind of unclear stuff. How tragic! The great innate god, the future Daluo Taoist priests, died in his own home before he could even see the Eldritch Wilderness. Fate is truly unpredictable. Looking at the miserable state of the 9 Heavens God, Feng Zichen sighed in his heart, and he couldn't help but feel the Eldritch Wilderness was even more dangerous. Even the most beloved innate god's embryo would meet with misfortune, let alone ordinary people. Daluo Taoist priests. Feng Zichen murmured softly to himself, and his Dao heart became even more determined. Only by becoming the Daluo Jingxian could one transcend the river of fate and control one's own destiny, and truly become the master of one's own destiny. Seeing that the Fortune Thunder Water didn't revive the innate god's embryo, Leisha withdrew the Fortune Thunder Water and turned around, mobilizing the origin power to forcefully merge the 9 Heavens Thunder Manor. There was a loud boom. Thunder rumbled, and the 9 Heavens divine lightning danced wildly. Under the pressure of Leisha, the 9 Heavens Thunder Manor and the innate god's embryo exploded together, turning into Chaos Whole Crimson Text. Then, the Chaos Whole Crimson Text activated, and Ming Huan Miaofan, Qing Ing Zidan, Shangling Xiu evolved into the 9 Heavens Realm and the 36 Heavenly Prisons. With the Divine Clouds Realm as the center, the other 8 heavens were spread out in all directions, forming a total of 36 heavenly prisons. In the center of the Divine Clouds Realm, an innate god's embryo was born, swallowing and spitting fortune opportunity, deducing the heavenly principles and the nine heavens Tao. However, this innate God's embryo was entangled with the qi of death and qi of resentment, constantly devouring its vitality and suppressing its growth, preventing it from developing intelligence. It was Leisha who saw no hope of reviving the nine heavens divine embryo, so he traced the origin of the nine heavens divine embryo together with the nine heavens thunder manner, creating a real nine heavens divine embryo. Although the nine innate God's embryos were destroyed, he obtained an innate God's embryo with greater potential. Moreover, exchanging 9 dead embryos for a live one was not a loss. After all, it was better than nothing. However, although this method was good, the 9 heavens divine embryo came from the 9 innate God's embryos, and naturally, it inherited the qi of death and qi of resentment. As long as the qi of death and resentment was not removed, the 9 heavens divine embryo would turn into a dead embryo sooner or later. Wu, unable to remove the resentment, Leisha could only let the newborn child walk towards destruction, and he couldn't help but cry again. On the other hand, Feng Zichen looked at the 9 heavens divine embryo, and his eyes flashed crazily. His mind was filled with thoughts, and a bold idea surfaced in his mind. This 9 heavens divine embryo was formed by the lightning origin, and it possessed part of the heavenly Tao's power. Once the innate God was born, he would be able to control heaven and earth's punishment, and he would be known as the incarnation of the heavenly Tao. Now, this 9 heavens divine embryo was about to die, and if he could take this opportunity to refine it, not only would he be able to obtain an innate God's incarnation with unlimited potential, but he would also be able to seize the throne of the 6 royals in the future. With that thought, Feng Zichen's heart thumped, and he immediately took out the Million Deities map and tossed it to the 9 heavens divine embryo. In an instant, endless divine light shone, and the phantoms of thousands of deities appeared, surrounding the 9 heavens divine embryo, and chanting incantations to refine the qi of death. Chapter 66. The North Star Emperor was also known as the Heavenly Emperor of Supreme Polarity of the West. He was the master of all spirits and wielded the myriad deities diagram. He was the master of all deities. He was also one of the 4 Imperials. He assisted the Jade Emperor in controlling the North and South Poles as well as heaven, earth, and man. He ruled over military reform in the mortal world and commanded the movement of the sun, moon, and stars. When Feng Zichen established the burning incense divine path in Zichen's grotto heaven, the heavenly Tao bestowed him with the myriad deities diagram to help him unify the divine path, establish the order, and confer the deities. At that time, Feng Zichen had an idea. If he failed to attain the Ziwei Tao in the future, he could use the myriad deities diagram to transform into the North Star Emperor and command the deities. However, as Feng Zichen's cultivation deepened, his connection with the Ziwei star became closer and closer. It was a foregone conclusion that he would become the Ziwei Great Emperor. Gradually, he put aside the matter of transforming into the North Star Emperor. Now that he saw the Jiuxiao divine fetus, Feng Zichen couldn't help but have a bold idea. He wanted the position of the Ziwei Great Emperor and the position of the North Star Emperor. If not for the birth of the South Pole Star God, he would have wanted the position of the South Pole Longevity Emperor as well. Ever since he received part of the Star Demon God's inheritance on the innate star tree, Feng Zichen understood the true meaning of the Tao of Stars. He wanted to attain the Tao of Stars, not the Tao of Ziwei. Although the Ziwei star was the master of the stars, it was not under his control as it was co-owned by the sun and moon. The North Star and South Pole also had the power to divide the Ziwei star. If he attained the Tao with the Ziwei star, Feng Zichen's final achievement would only be the Ziwei Great Emperor, one of the 4 Imperials of the Celestial Court, a puppet arranged by the saints. He was known as the Master of the Stars, but in reality, the stars were separated and he couldn't rule over Zhoushan. However, it could be said that it was extremely difficult to truly attain the Tao of the stars. At the very least, the saints wouldn't allow anyone to rule over Zhoushan. Zhoushan's fate was extremely strong. Di Jun obtained it and unified the demon race. He established the heavenly court and dominated the primordial world. Even the saints did not dare to provoke him. With this lesson in mind, how could the saints let the great emperor of Ziwei command the myriad stars and gather Zhouxing's fate? Thus, the sage established another mountain and set up the North Star Emperor and the South Pole Emperor. It was enough to make the Jade Emperor a figurehead and make him lose his power and prestige. Zhouxing's luck could also be divided, making it impossible for it to be complete and unable to give birth to someone like Dijun. It was really killing two birds with one stone. The appearance of the Nine Heavens divine embryo allowed Feng Zichen to see the hope of proving the way of the stars. If the three star gods were in his control, who could stop him from becoming the lord of 10,000 stars? Seeing the death qi in the Jiushao divine embryo vanishing, Feng Zichen flew out from his innate Yuan Shen and entered it, planning to turn it into his incarnation so that he could compete for the position of Gaochen in the future. Buzz. The million deity painting could erase the death qi, but it could not erase the innate god's resentment. Sensing Feng Zichen entering the Jiushao divine embryo, the innate resentment rolled towards him. Duo! With a soft duo, the million deity painting trembled and shot down endless divine rays, clashing with the innate resentment. Feng Zichen took the opportunity to fuse with the Jiushao divine embryo to prevent any unexpected changes. With a sizzling sound, the innate resentment forced the million deity painting back and surged into the divine embryo. It wrapped around Feng Zichen's Yuan Shen and tried to erode his intelligence. In a moment of desperation, Feng Zichen quickly said, "After I achieve the Tao, I will fight the culprit to the death to appease the hatred of my fellow Taoists. After I achieve the Tao, I will do everything in my power to bring my fellow Taoists back to life. I hope that my fellow Taoists will lend me a hand." As soon as he finished speaking, the Khanate resentment qi stopped corroding Feng Zichen's primordial spirit. It hovered in the air for a moment and turned into a black Taoist seal, branding itself on Feng Zichen's primordial spirit. Then Feng Zichen no longer faced any resistance in refining the Jiushao divine embryo. Even the power of Lei Zhe appeared on its own to help him refine the Jiushao divine embryo. Outside of the Jiushao divine embryo, the gods chanted and formed hand seals, sending them into the divine embryo to help him refine it. Before the Jiushao Thunderlord was born, he was killed. His heart was filled with unwillingness and hatred towards the culprit. After his death, these negative emotions turned into resentment that lingered for a long time. Feng Zichen swore that after he achieved the Tao, he would avenge the Jiushao Thunderlord. Killing the culprit was to appease his hatred, and finding a way to revive him was to appease his resentment. The Jiushao Thunderlord's spirit in heaven sensed it. Not only did his resentment disappear, he even helped him refine the Jiushao divine embryo so that he could be revived. Of course, to prevent Feng Zichen from going back on his words, the innate resentment turned into a mark on him, urging him to fulfill his promise. Silently, a huge crack appeared in the space. Starlight poured out like water and entered the Jiushao divine embryo, accelerating its evolution. One could see that at the end of the crack, there were 6 incomparably bright stars hanging high above the 9 heavens. Endless starlight was shining down from them. The 6 stars looked like a qilin, but they were actually the Gaochen. These were the Gaochen's 6 stars, located in the school of the Emperor Star. They were the symbols of the Emperor Star. The Jiushao divine embryo was in charge of the punishment of heaven and earth, while the Emperor Star was in charge of the order of heaven and earth. The two complemented each other and were very compatible. And it was because of this that Feng Zichen was willing to bear the consequences of his actions to obtain the Jiushao divine embryo. With the help of the Lei Zhe, Feng Zichen quickly refined the Jiushao divine embryo. Once his innate Yuan Shen formed a mortal body, he would be able to emerge as the innate Lei Zhe god and fight for the throne of the Emperor Star. In the Jiushao divine embryo, Feng Zichen waved his hand. The million god painting trembled for a moment and turned into a white light that fell into his hand. With a shake of his hand, the million god painting unfolded. Thousands of gods stood in the painting, chanting an unknown scripture. With another shake, the images of the gods disappeared and the million god painting disappeared without a trace. With a toss, the million-god painting flew out of the Jiushao divine embryo and headed towards the 8th level of the Leizhe. In the 8th level of the Leizhe, the million-god painting shone brightly and devoured the Xin Shao, Qing Shao, Bai Shao, Red Shao, Bright Shao, Jade Shao, Lang Shao, Purple Shao and Tai Shao lightning regions before returning to Feng Zichen's hand. When he opened the million-god painting again, 9 figures surrounded by lightning appeared on the painting. Judging from their aura, they were the Jiushao lightning region. Not bad. When the celestial Tao rises in the future, I will be able to summon the Jiushao Thunder Lord back with this mark. Looking at the 9 figures in the million-god painting, Feng Zichen nodded in satisfaction. Although the Jiushao Thunder Lord was dead, the Jiushao lightning region that gave birth to him was still there, and there were still remnants of his origin qi in it. After the million-god painting devoured the Jiushao lightning region, when the celestial Tao rises, the Jiushao Thunder Lord would be resurrected. The million-god painting was different from the investiture of the gods. The investiture of the gods crowned the righteous gods of heaven and earth with a total of 365 positions. On the other hand, the million-god painting recorded all the gods in the world and divided them into categories, grades, and orders. The million-god painting was a treasure of celestial Tao. The more celestial Tao rose, the more powerful the million-god painting would be. The list on it could be changed by Feng Zichen. The investiture of the gods was a heavenly book that could not be improved. Once the list was set, it could not be changed. Chapter 67. The investiture of the gods could control the gods on the list. All the gods on the list had to obey its orders. At the same time, as long as the investiture of the gods was not destroyed, even if the gods on the list died, they could be resurrected in the investiture of the gods. The million deity map did not have this ability. It only recorded the information of the gods, knew their strengths and weaknesses, and classified them. It could not control the gods on the list. If the gods on the list died, the million deity map could resurrect them, but the price was too high. So high that Feng Zichen wanted to forget about this function. Now that I have 2 of the 3 star gods, I only need the South Pole Star to prove the Tao of Stars. But the South Pole Star Master has been born long ago, so it will be troublesome to prove the Tao in the future. Thinking of this, Feng Zichen was a little annoyed. During the Star God Tribulation, the South Pole Star Master was driven out of the South Pole Star by the demon race. He wandered into the wilderness and hid somewhere. When he reappeared, he had already become the unofficial disciple of the Heavenly Lord Xianxia, the South Pole Immortal. The matter of the South Pole Immortal is not urgent. There will be a way. The most important thing now is the matter of the Thunder Lord of the 9 Clouds. Whether I am the murderer's opponent or not, I have to figure out the murderer's identity first before I can make a plan. Thinking of this, Feng Zichen looked at the black mark on his primordial spirit. This was formed by the innate resentment. In the future, if he could not fulfill his promise, the innate resentment would explode and make him fall into eternal silence. Inheriting the divine fetus of the 9 Clouds naturally meant that he also inherited its karma. He had to find the murderer who harmed the divine fetus of the 9 Clouds. In this regard, Feng Zichen did not regret. The divine fetus of the 9 Clouds was related to the path of Tao. Even the Daluo Jingxian could not stop his footsteps. On the path of Tao, if you did not advance, you would fall behind. There was no room for hesitation. On the other side of the Thunder Sea of Creation, a 12th grade Black Lotus took root in the Sea of Lightning, constantly absorbing the power of the Thunder Lake. Around it, thunder snakes danced wildly and rushed toward it. Every time the thunder of creation hit it, a trace of innate evil qi flew out of its body and was destroyed by the thunder of creation. This 12th grade Black Lotus was the 12th grade Black Lotus of destruction. Soon, I'll be able to take a human form and walk on the Eldritch continent as an innate god. Sensing the changes in its body, an excited voice came from the Black Lotus of destruction. Back then, Fiend Ancestor Ra's self-detonation was so powerful that the entire Western Spirit Vein was destroyed. At that time, The Black Lotus of Destruction was under the demon ancestor's feet. His fate was obvious. He was immediately severely injured and fell into the spatial turbulence. Although it was severely injured, the Black Lotus of Annihilation was a blessing in disguise and gained sentience. With intelligence, the next step would be to take human form. However, the Black Lotus of Annihilation was severely damaged. If it transformed now, there was a risk of its grade dropping. Naturally, the Black Lotus of Annihilation was unwilling. In order to transform, the Black Lotus of Apocalypse used the name of the demonic ancestor to pass down the demonic Tao. It cultivated many demonic Tao cultivators and gathered the earth vein origin for them to devour to make up for the lack of origin. Unfortunately, since the end of the Antiquity Age, a long time had passed and the origin of the 12th grade Black Lotus of Devastation still had not recovered. Left with no other choice, it came to the Thunder Lock, intending to make its last stand. As such, Feng Zichen encountered a large number of demonic Tao cultivators on his way to the Thunder Lock. They were all here to deliver the earth vein origin to the Black Lotus of Devastation. I didn't expect that my helpless actions would lead to an unexpected gain. The Thunder Lock is indeed the origin of creation. The Black Lotus of Devastation laughed in the sea of thunder. Inside the Black Lotus of Devastation, 9 balls of light shone brightly, surrounded by lightning and runes. The aura of the Great Path permeated the air and exuded a strong vitality. 9 tiny roots stretched out from the void and rooted themselves in the bodies of the demonic Tao cultivators. They were constantly absorbing their energy, causing the light on their bodies to dim. After absorbing the origin of the 9 innate godly fetuses, not only can I recover my origin and return to my peak, but I might even be able to take human form with Daluo Jinxian's true strength. The Black Lotus of Devastation thought happily as it looked at the dimming origin of the celestial demons. Yes, these 9 celestial demons were the origin of the Thunder Lord of the 9th heaven. When the Black Lotus of Devastation arrived at the Thunder Lock, it rushed straight into the depths of the Thunder Lock. The 12th grade Black Lotus of Devastation was a supreme grade innate merit spiritual treasure. It was said to be the most powerful innate spiritual treasure. The 9-level Thunder Lock, which was dangerous to Feng Zichen, was like a tickle to the Black Lotus of Devastation. In just a few years, it arrived at the 8-level Thunder Lock. As soon as it entered the 8-level Thunder Lock, the Black Lotus of Devastation sensed the presence of the Thunder Lord of the 9th heaven. The Black Lotus of Devastation was the most precious treasure of the demonic ancestor. It had been immersed in the innate evil chi for a long time, and its personality had long been twisted. It knew that swallowing the Thunder Lord of the 9th heaven would bring it many benefits. It did not care about karma and pounced on the Thunder Lord of the 9th heaven. The Thunder Lord of the 9th heaven had not yet been born. How could it be a match for the Black Lotus of Devastation? Its vitality was immediately taken away and it died. However, the Thunder Lord of the 9th heaven was the son of the Luai's Lock. After the Black Lotus of Annihilation took away the Thunder Lord of the 9th heaven's life force, the Black Lotus of Annihilation took away his life force. The Thunder Lock was enraged. It summoned a sky full of lightning and struck down together, vowing to destroy the Black Lotus of Devastation. However, no matter how strong the Thunder Lock was, it did not have any intelligence. It acted purely on instinct. The Black Lotus of Devastation only concealed the Thunder Lord of the 9th heaven's aura and changed its own state. It blocked the Thunder Lock's perception and walked into the 9-level Thunder Lock. In the Thunder Lock, as time passed, the Thunder Lord of the 9th heaven's vitality was completely devoured by the Black Lotus of Devastation. The Black Lotus of Devastation laughed and mobilized its source to form a Tao body. The time has come. It's time for me to come out. As soon as the Black Lotus of Devastation finished speaking, the color of heaven and earth changed. Endless auspicious chi gathered in the sky above the Thunder Lock. Thousands of auspicious chi, tens of thousands of rays of light, Tao voices, Tao laws, and all kinds of strange phenomena appeared, congratulating the birth of another innate god. Not good. Just as the Black Lotus of Devastation was about to take form, A trace of the Thunder Lord of the Ninth Heaven's aura leaked out from his body. In a split second, the Thunderlock was enraged. The auspicious chi in the sky disappeared in a blink of an eye, turning into dark clouds with lightning snakes dancing in the sky. The countless strange phenomena stopped and turned into the image of the Sun Luo ghost domain. The Black Lotus of Devastation's transformation was stopped. One after another, the demon-slaying godly lightning struck at him, trying to kill him. It's too late to realize it now. With a cold sneer, the 12th grade Black Lotus of Devastation shone brightly. One after another, black lotuses bloomed and spread out, blocking the demon-slaying godly lightning. Seizing the opportunity, the Black Lotus of Devastation quickly formed a Dao body, planning to take form before the Black Lotus of Devastation was destroyed. As long as he could take form, he would be an innate god blessed by the heavenly Dao, and the endless demon-slaying godly lightning would disappear. Chapter 68. The Demon Slayer Thunder was extremely powerful as it blasted toward the Black Lotus of Destruction. As the Black Lotus of Destruction swayed, black light flowed, and black lotus flowers bloomed one after another, welcoming the Demon Slayer Thunder. Boom, boom, boom. Under the Demon Slayer Thunder, the Black Lotus first disintegrated inch by inch, then continued to be reborn. As it was born and destroyed, the power of the Demon Slayer Thunder became weaker and weaker until it was destroyed. How can a mere Demon Slayer Thunder hurt me? Seeing that the Demon Slayer Thunder couldn't break through its defense, the Black Lotus of Destruction became proud again. At this moment, something strange happened. A slender root quietly broke through the void and landed here. It directly took root on the Black Lotus of Destruction and crazily absorbed its origin. You're courting death. The Black Lotus of Destruction was shocked and angry at the sudden attack. It hurriedly attacked the root. No, stop it. What the hell is this? Why can't I cut it? After a while, the Black Lotus of Destruction screamed in horror. He didn't know what the root was, but it carried an ancient and chaotic aura. It was as if it was born to restrain him. No matter what he did, he couldn't cut it off. In just a short while, the Black Lotus of Destruction had lost more than half of its origin. If this went on, not to mention transforming, even its grade wouldn't be able to keep it. Knowing the consequences of losing its origin, the Black Lotus of Destruction couldn't care less about defending against the Demon Slayer Thunder above its head. It began to withdraw its power and struggled with all its might. Without the obstruction of the Black Lotus, the Demon Slayer Thunder continued to bombard the Black Lotus of Destruction, causing it to shake and dim. The root seemed to have grown on its body. No matter how it struggled, it couldn't get rid of it. It could only watch as its origin was drained away. I hate you. You forced me to do this. Under the attack of the Demon Slayer Thunder and the root, the Black Lotus of Destruction completely exploded. In the next moment, a handsome young man in black appeared from the 12th grade Black Lotus of Destruction, surrounded by innate evil chi and destructive chi. Dazzling black light emitted from his body, and destructive chi surged out, drowning everything within a radius of 10,000 miles. The Demon Slayer Thunder was constantly destroyed, and the root hurriedly withdrew from his body. Although the Black Lotus of Annihilation in the form of a magic treasure was strong, it had great limitations. It could only use its innate supernatural powers and could not use the various supernatural powers of the Devil Dao. Only by turning into an innate god would he be able to use the great techniques passed down by the demon ancestor to expel the root. My name is Armageddon. As if he was announcing his birth, a gloomy voice came out of his mouth and echoed throughout the entire Thunderlock, causing the heavenly path to tremble. In an instant, the lightning stopped and the roots retreated silently. The Thunder Lake returned to its peaceful state. You want to leave? You made me pay such a huge price. Do you think you can leave just because you want to? The moment he thought of the price he had to pay to get rid of that root, the World Devastator Taoist gritted his teeth in hatred. How could he let it get away so easily? He hurriedly followed after it. He wanted to see which bastard had plotted against him and ruined his opportunity. Looking at the direction that the root was escaping in, It was where Feng Zichen was. According to the Black Lotus of Annihilation's plan, as long as he completely absorbed the Thunder Lord of the Nine Heavens origin energy, he would be able to find the heavenly secrets the moment he transformed and jump out of the river of destiny to become the undying Daluo Jinxian. However, that route was extremely terrifying. In just a few breaths, it had sucked away half of his origin energy and was about to suck him dry. At this moment of life and death, the Black Lotus of Annihilation did not dare to hesitate. It could not care less about its pursuit of perfection and immediately transformed. However, with the loss of origin energy and the rush to transform, his cultivation level was only at the Golden Immortal realm. He could not even reach the Tai Jinxian realm. How could the World Devastator Taoist not hate him? After the Black Lotus of Annihilation gained sentience, it could transform at any time. However, in order to achieve the most perfect transformation, he had been suppressing the urge to transform and worked hard to accumulate origin energy. He had worked hard for millions of years and did not hesitate to take away the Thunder Lord of the Nine Heavens origin energy just to reach the Daluo Jinxian realm. However, in just a short moment, it was destroyed by that route. How could the World Devastator Taoist not hate it? Who could tolerate all this, let alone the tyrannical World Devastator Taoist? No matter who you are, I will not let you off. With a flash, the World Devastator Taoist's figure completely disappeared. Only his cold and harsh words echoed in the void. On the other side of the Thunder Sea of Creation, Feng Zichen stared in confusion at the world tree that had suddenly grown crazily. He was completely unaware of the imminent danger. What's going on? Why did the world tree suddenly grow crazily? Just a moment ago, the world tree seemed to have eaten a great tonic and grew crazily. 200,000 feet, 300,000 feet, 500,000 feet, 100,000 feet. In an instant, it had grown to 10 million feet. As if it had noticed Feng Zichen's surprise, the world tree extended a root and tapped between his eyebrows. Everything that had just happened appeared in his mind. This world tree is really a troublemaker. How can the grade 12 Black Lotus of Destruction be so easy to offend? After reading the message from the world tree, Feng Zichen felt his teeth ache. The grade 12 Black Lotus of Destruction was formed from the lotus seed of the Chaos Supreme Treasure, the Green Lotus of Creation. It was a supreme grade Khanate merit spiritual treasure. With such an identity, it was considered top-notch even among the Khanate gods and demons. If you dare to devour the origin of the Chaos Bead again, don't blame me for not showing mercy. With that thought, Feng Zichen first warned the world tree. Then, he took out the Chaos Bead and kept the world tree in it. He was about to leave this place. The world tree had already taken root and sprouted, far exceeding his expectations. Feng Zichen had achieved his goal in the Thunderlock. There was no point in staying here any longer. It was time to leave. Moreover, the world tree had benefited greatly. It was best to leave this place as soon as possible lest the victim's family came looking for him. It would be difficult to escape then. Where are you going? Stay here for me. After keeping the world tree, Feng Zichen had not gone far when he heard a furious voice coming from afar. At the same time, black lotuses bloomed in the void, blocking Feng Zichen's path. The Black Lotus of Destruction. It's so fast. Seeing the black lotuses, Feng Zichen knew that the victim's family had come looking for him. He could not help but rejoice that he had kept the world tree in advance. If the Black Lotus of Destruction saw the world tree, it might recognize the origin of the world tree. Then it would be troublesome. May I know who you are? Why are you blocking my path? Feng Zichen turned around and looked at the World Devastator Taoist with a frown. Although he knew why the World Devastator Taoist was here, Feng Zichen was not stupid enough to admit it before the other party caught him. Could. Seeing that Feng Zichen was playing dumb, the World Devastator Taoist was so angry that he trembled and said the word, "good," 3 times in a row. Without further ado, he waved his hand at Feng Zichen and countless black lotuses swept toward him. Chapter 69. Sigh. With a soft sigh, Feng Zichen waved his hand in the air. Endless starlight fell and turned into a dazzling river of stars. As the river of stars flowed, groups of stars flickered with dazzling and resplendent radiance as they covered the sky, and they blocked and suppressed the black lotuses that surged over. After that, Feng Zichen formed a hand seal with his left hand and pointed. Taoist rhymes circled around and immediately summoned the 10,000 mammoth divine thunder. The lightning was colorless and exploded in the sky. The world devastator Taoist's expression changed. He roared and 9 destructive auras appeared around him. They turned into 9 destructive demonic dragons and collided with the 10,000 mammoth divine thunder. Seeing that the world devastator Taoist was being held back by the 10,000 mammoth divine thunder, Feng Zichen moved and wanted to escape. The world tree had stolen the origin of the black lotus of destruction for no reason, causing it to seek revenge. He was completely unreasonable and did not have the nerve to fight with it. Just as Feng Zichen was about to leave, the 9 heavens divine embryo that had already entered the depths of the thunder lock suddenly trembled. Khanate resentment suddenly flew out and turned into the image of a demon god, roaring at the world devastator Taoist. Shocked, Feng Zichen seemed to have understood something. He suddenly stopped in his tracks and looked coldly at the world devastator Taoist. His heart, which originally had some guilt, was now completely filled with a cold, killing intent. How dare you? You are the one who stole the 9 heavens divine thunder's origin? Thinking of the oath that day, Feng Zichen no longer held back. He formed a hand seal with his right hand and pointed at the sky. The 10,000 mammoth divine thunder immediately changed. The 10,000 mammoth divine thunder suddenly split into the sun, moon, stars, mountains, rivers, and vegetation. It was like a small world that enveloped the 9-headed demonic dragons. So what if it's me? The world devastator Taoist snorted and waved his right hand. The 9-headed demonic dragons immediately changed and intertwined with each other to form a powerful array formation that tangled with the 10,000 mammoth divine thunder. You, on the other hand, stole my origin and ruined my Daluo's opportunity. You really deserve to die. At this point, a black light flashed in the world devastator Taoist's eyes. With a cold glint, he swung his sleeve and suddenly grabbed a demonic sword that was shrouded in black qi. The world devastator Taoist waved his arm and a black sword beam slashed out. It destroyed the void and eroded everything as it charged towards Feng Zichen. Fellow Taoist, you are also an innate god. How can you not know that karma is coming to you? That day, you snatched the Thunder Lord of the 9th heaven source, causing him to die prematurely. Today, your source was obtained by me, causing you to miss Daluo's opportunity. Isn't this the reason? Feng Zichen did not back down. As he taunted World Devastator with his words, he took out the Zichen sword and cast the Heavenly Cycle sword art. The purple sword radiance swept out in all directions, carrying the starlight of the universe as it clashed with the black sword radiance. Justice? Are you trying to reason with me? What a joke! As a demonic cultivator, we defy the heavens and take it upon ourselves to destroy the universe. Why would we care about mere justice? With that, the World Devastator Taoist's body rumbled and a destructive aura surged out. It charged towards Feng Zichen with a monstrous aura. What kind of background do you have? Even after killing the Thunder Lord of the 9th heaven, the heavenly Tao still favors you. Yet, you insist on being entangled with the demonic Tao and going against the heavenly Tao. You are truly depraved. Seeing the World Devastator Taoist charging towards him, Feng Zichen was not afraid at all. He sneered coldly and a rumbling sound came from his body. The shadows of the gods appeared and exploded with dazzling divine light as they fought the World Devastator Taoist. As the two exchanged blows, World Devastator Taoist's body exploded with Khanate murderous aura. Amidst the rumbling, this Khanate murderous aura mixed with the destructive aura and materialized into a black Tao wave that spread out in all directions. Feng Zichen's body surged with divine light as the shadows of the gods formed seals to receive the starlight from the heavenly cycle. Instantly, thousands of starlight beams descended. Under the command of the purple star starlight, they turned into a resplendent starry sky. It seemed to shake the entire lightning lock as it collided with the Tao wave produced by the World Devastator Taoist. When the two collided, there was a loud explosion. Terrifying shockwaves spread out in all directions, shattering the void. The lightning lock trembled as creation divine lightning danced wildly. Under the World Devastator Taoist's incredulous gaze, the resplendent starry sky shattered the Tao wave and transformed into sword beams that filled the sky. They tore through the void and slashed down. "How dare you!" the World Devastator Taoist roared. He waved the devil sword in his hand and summoned the shadows of 4 long swords. The moment the 4 sword shadows appeared, a boundless murderous aura gathered. It emitted a mighty force that could tear everything apart. It distorted the void and produced ripples. When the ripples spread out, sword beams followed. They were densely packed and endless. And when the sword beams struck the cyclic sword flash, a loud boom reverberated. The surging powers of the stars blasted apart along with the sword beams. There were even a few sword beams that rushed out of the cyclic sword flash's range and arrived in front of Feng Zichen. The immortal vanquishing 4 swords? Upon sensing the chilling murderous aura, Feng Zichen guessed the origins of the 4 swords. Before the Grand Master of Heaven, the original owner of the immortal vanquishing 4 swords was Fiend Ancestor Ra. As for the 12th grade Black Lotus of World Annihilation, it was not surprising that it could comprehend a sliver of the immortal vanquishing 4 swords' true intent. Feng Zichen's eyes flashed with killing intent as the cyclic sword flash gathered once again. With unity, dual polarity, trifling as the order, it formed a massive sword array that slashed at the immortal vanquishing 4 sword shadows. "You are courting death. Who do you think you are to withstand the immortal vanquishing 4 swords?" World Devastator Taoist sneered contemptuously when he saw Feng Zichen's actions. The immortal vanquishing 4 swords suddenly trembled as boundless murderous aura surged into the sky. 4 sharp sword beams shot out with an aura that could annihilate everything. They struck the cyclic sword array and tore it apart. How powerful! Upon seeing the sword array destroyed, Feng Zichen's body shimmered with supreme yang radiance as he emitted a beam of supreme yang divine light to shatter the immortal vanquishing sword beams. "Darn it, truly darn it! You and I are irreconcilable." Upon seeing the immortal vanquishing sword beams destroyed, World Devastator Taoist roared angrily. He charged forward with the immortal vanquishing sword projection. Feng Zichen showed no fear as he charged forward with Zichen's sword in hand. Both of them were extraordinary figures. Their attacks were extremely ruthless as though they wanted to kill each other. However, both of them were at the same cultivation level and had similar techniques. They could not do anything to each other and were caught in a stalemate. World Devastator Taoist was an innate god-fiend and had the demon ancestor's inheritance. His attacks were filled with demonic qi that could destroy one's spiritual intelligence. On the other hand, Feng Zichen had the connate constitution and the supreme mystical skills of the celestial sect to protect himself. His attacks were surrounded by starlight that could destroy one's true spirit. The battle between the two of them was a battle of life and death. There was no room for mercy. As such, the battle between the two of them became more and more ferocious. All sorts of mystical skills flew out from their hands and blasted at each other. "Die!" World Devastator Taoist hardened his heart when he saw that the battle was going on for a long time. He suddenly took out the 12th grade Black Lotus of Destruction and attacked Feng Zichen. The 12th grade Black Lotus of Destruction swayed as it released beams of destructive divine light that charged toward him. "I have long been prepared for this move of yours." Knowing the World Devastator Taoist's background, how could Feng Zichen not be prepared for the 12th grade Black Lotus of Destruction? Chapter 70. With a flip of his left hand, the Hongmeng Daozhong appeared. With a flick of his right hand, a melodious bell chime sounded. The bell's shockwaves swept out in all directions as Hongmeng's aura surged out. The void disintegrated layer by layer as the destructive divine light immediately dissipated. At the next moment, The two supreme-grade Khanate numinous treasures, the Black Lotus of Destruction and the Hongmeng Daozhong, flew out and faced each other in midair. Upon seeing the Hongmeng Daozhong, World Devastator Daozhong seemed to recall something as he exclaimed, "It's you! Very well. First, you killed my fiend's envoys and then snatched my origins. You are at odds with my fiend's sect at every turn. Do you really think that my fiend's sect has no one?" The more World Devastator Daozhong spoke, the angrier he became. Towards the end, he even bellowed. Infuriated, World Devastator Daozhong revealed a deranged look as he turned ferocious. Sanguine light surged from his body as his aura surged. When he attacked, his sword chi turned more ferocious as his arm was torn apart. "So what if I offend your fiend sect? Does your fiend sect still have Daluo Jinxian? Even if they do, would they dare appear in the primordial world?" Feng Zichen sneered, unmoved by World Devastator Daozhong's words. As he swung the purple imperial sword, Feng Zichen let out a loud roar. The acupuncture points on his body lit up one by one, and the projection of the stars in the sky appeared. His aura overwhelmed the World Devastator Taoist as he charged at him. With Feng Zichen's powerful attacks, World Devastator Daozhong was forced to retreat. The four immortal vanquishing swords constantly trembled and shattered as they could no longer withstand Zhou strength. No good. The shattering of the four immortal vanquishing swords alarmed World Devastator Daozhong. As he brandished his sword to block, he hurriedly retreated. "Do you think you can escape?" With the advantage, Feng Zichen pursued. He brandished the Zichen sword as resplendent sword flashes rained down, enveloping World Devastator Daozhong and cleaving him down. Clang, clang, clang. World Devastator Daoist was a manifestation of a supreme-grade Khanate numinous treasure. His body was extremely tough, and when the cyclic sword flash struck him, it produced a clanging sound but failed to injure him at all. On the other hand, his black clothes had been torn apart by the sword chi, and his Dao crown had been shattered by the sword chi. His entire body was in tatters, and his hair was disheveled. He seemed to be in an extremely sorry state, and he'd lost his noble bearing from before. Buzz. The World Devastator cult waved his hand as the 12th grade World Devastation Black Lotus in the void moved. It no longer entangled itself with Hongmeng Daozhong and flew to his side. It drooped down wisps of black light that wiped out the cyclic sword flash. "Who are you? You can actually force me to this extent." Standing on the Black Lotus of Destruction's lotus platform, the World Devastator Daoist's body flashed with black light, and his black robe and Daoist crown reappeared. "Puma, you wouldn't know even if I told you, so there's no point in mentioning it." World Devastator Taoist was backed by the demon sect, so how would Feng Zichen dare to reveal his background and cause trouble for himself? It just so happened that the heavenly secrets here were chaotic, and World Devastator Daoist was unable to deduce his origins. He might as well hide his origins and let him guess blindly. "It's fine if you don't want to say it. Since you are about to die, there's no point in saying it." World Devastator Daoist sneered as a strange aura surged from his body. Just as this aura appeared, a mournful feeling came from the world. It was as though the primordial desolate lands were about to shatter and everything was about to wither. At the same time, a sense of extreme danger surfaced in Feng Zichen's mind. Heaven and Earth Tribulation Aura. Feng Zichen's pupils constricted as he recalled Hongmeng Daozhong to protect himself. This was the Heaven and Earth Tribulation Aura collected by the Fiend Ancestor when he instigated the war between the three races. When the Tribulation Aura touched one's body, the light from Providence would be damaged, causing everything to go wrong, resulting in bad luck. In serious cases, the Tribulation Aura would bewitch one's mind, making one easily irritable and angry. The calamity would follow them forever until death. However, the Heaven and Earth Tribulation Aura was one of the Fiend sect's ultimate techniques. World Devastator Daoist's use of this technique meant that he was at his wit's end. As long as he could withstand this move, World Devastator Daoist would not be a threat. While Feng Zichen was pondering, World Devastator Daoist made a series of hand seals. The Heaven and Earth Tribulation Aura surged over and turned into a ferocious long spear that emitted a monstrous killing intent. As the cold light flashed, it pierced through layers of space and arrived in front of him. God-slaying spear. Sensing the incoming killing intent, Hongmeng Daozhong trembled non-stop. When the bell rang, Hongmeng Qi surged and shattered the God-slaying spear. The God-slaying spear shattered, and the heaven and earth tribulation aura surged out. The dark heaven and earth tribulation aura spread in all directions and drowned Feng Zichen. Before he could use Hongmeng Daozhong, the 12th grade Black Lotus of World Devastation crashed toward him with a powerful force. Clang. The Hongmeng Daozhong and the 12th grade Black Lotus of World Devastation flew backward at the same time. Without Hongmeng Daozhong's protection, the heaven and earth tribulation aura surged toward Feng Zichen. The heaven and earth tribulation aura was formless and intangible. Feng Zichen used all kinds of divine powers to hit it, but it was like a clay ox entering the sea and did not cause any waves. Feng Zichen immediately raised his merit light to protect himself. When the heaven and earth tribulation aura and the merit light came into contact with each other, there was a sizzling sound and they cancelled each other out. After a short while, the merit light dimmed. Feng Zichen's heart ached when he saw this and he hurriedly withdrew his merit light. Seeing that the heaven and earth tribulation aura was getting closer and closer, Feng Zichen's heart did not waver. His eyes were calm as he opened the seal in his sea of consciousness and recalled the scene when Pangu opened the sky. In an instant, a spirit that could split the sky and earth emerged from Feng Zichen's body. He picked up the Zichen sword and swung it forward. A spot of light appeared as if it was the first ray of light in the world. It became brighter and brighter, illuminating the greater world. Under the illumination of this light, the heaven and earth tribulation aura disintegrated and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye as if it had never appeared. The aura of opening the sky. Who exactly are you? Why do you have the inheritance of opening the sky? The World Devastator Taoist priest asked in shock. As the lotus seed of the green lotus of creation, the World Devastator Taoist priest naturally had a part of the memory of opening the sky. Therefore, when he sensed the aura of opening the sky on Feng Zichen, he recognized it at a glance. Without replying, Feng Zichen withdrew his aura of opening the sky and charged forward with his sword. The battle had dragged on for long enough, and it was time to end it. In the next moment, the Khanate 5 elements Divine Light, Khanate Extreme Yang Divine Light, Myriad Divine Lightning, Heaven and Earth Furnace, 5 the Archpalm Seal, 9 Heaven's Dragon Roar. All kinds of incredible divine powers flew out from Feng Zichen's hands and blasted toward the World Devastator Taoist priest in an attempt to kill him on the spot. How dare you! Even Daluo Jingxian wouldn't be able to destroy my physical body. You want to hurt me with just your strength? Dream on. After blocking the myriad divine lightning, shattering the 5 the Archpalm Seal, and splitting the heaven and earth furnace with great difficulty, the World Devastator Taoist priest had already used all his strength and was powerless to block the following divine powers. The Khanate 5 elements Divine Light and Khanate Extreme Yang Divine Light swept across his body one after another, causing his clothes to be torn and his entire body to be charred black. The 9 Heavens Dragon Roar was mighty and mighty, shattering the endless void and causing him to stagger continuously. He was in an extremely miserable state. However, Feng Zichen knew that it was just as the World Devastator Taoist priest had said. His physical body was extremely tough. When the divine powers landed on his body, they seemed to have beaten him into a sorry state, but in reality, they were like scratching an itch and couldn't cause any damage at all. Chapter 71. Unable to break through the World Devastator Taoist's defense, Feng Zichen was extremely frustrated. He could not help but think of retreating. This guy's body is too strong. If this continues, I'll be in trouble when the demon sect experts arrive. With that thought, Feng Zichen shot out another Khanate 5 elements Divine Light and blasted the World Devastator Taoist thousands of miles away. With a flash, he turned into a purple light and flew toward the 8th level of the Thunder Lock. Where do you think you're going? The World Devastator Taoist roared when he saw Feng Zichen flying away. He turned into a black light and chased after him. You overestimate yourself. Seeing that the World Devastator Taoist was so persistent, Feng Zichen was enraged. He raised his hand and shot out the 10,000 elephant divine thunder, forcing the World Devastator Taoist to retreat. After a short while, the World Devastator Taoist got used to the power of the 10,000 elephant divine thunder and continued to chase after Feng Zichen. No matter how many skills you have, you won't be able to hurt me. What goes around comes around. Feng Zichen was even more frustrated when he saw that. Usually, it was others who could not break through his defense. Today, he met someone with a strong body. Even after using all his skills, he could not hurt him at all. He finally experienced the helplessness and frustration others felt when facing the merit spiritual light. With a bitter smile, Feng Zichen flew forward. No matter how the World Devastator Taoist provoked him, he did not look at him and focused on thinking of a way to escape. Just like that, a black light chased after a purple light and quickly left the thunder sea of creation and rushed into the thunder sea of destruction. Rumble! Endless divine thunder of destruction blasted toward Feng Zichen's head. The power contained within it would make even a golden immortal tremble in fear. Feng Zichen did not dare to take it head-on. He hurriedly took out the primordial chaos Dao Bell and hung it above his head to block the divine thunder of destruction that poured down. Phew, that was close. After taking a deep breath, Feng Zichen looked at the divine thunder of destruction in front of him with lingering fear. He was so focused on escaping that he almost forgot about the existence of the Sea of Lightning. Sensing the terror of the Thunder Sea of Destruction, Feng Zichen thought of a way to stop the World Devastator Taoist. He hurriedly sent a message to the divine embryo of 9 heavens. In the deepest part of the Leizhe, in an unknown space, the 9 heavens divine embryo received the message from Feng Zichen and started to tremble. The tremors continued to spread, causing the entire Leizhe to tremble. The moment the World Devastator Taoist stepped into the destructive Thunder Sea, he felt a massive will staring at him. Before he could react, the entire Thunder Sea of Destruction suddenly boiled. Endless divine thunder of destruction surged toward him and completely drowned him. Ha! Destructive thunder? I am the 12th grade Black Lotus of Destruction, the embodiment of the path of destruction. As a derivative of the Tao of destruction, how could the divine thunder of destruction harm him? So, in the destructive lightning sea, World Devastator Taoist laughed out loud. He suddenly opened his mouth and inhaled. The destructive divine lightning that filled the sky was swallowed into his stomach. Instantly, a corner of the lightning sea disappeared. Hiss! Seeing that the World Devastator Taoist had swallowed the destructive divine thunder of destruction, Feng Zichen felt a toothache. Fortunately, he did not intend to use the destructive lightning sea to kill the World Devastator Taoist. He only wanted to delay him. But the destructive lightning sea changed again. Thick divine chains of destruction appeared and trapped the World Devastator Taoist on the spot. Even if the World Devastator Taoist could devour the divine thunder of destruction, the divine chains of destruction were endless. Just as he devoured one, another would immediately replace it, making it impossible for him to break free. You can stay here and enjoy the hospitality of the divine embryo of 9 heavens. Glancing at the World Devastator Taoist, Feng Zichen suddenly knocked on the Hongmeng Daozhong and tore open the void to leave this place. The divine embryo of 9 heavens was the son of the Leizhe and could use part of the Leizhe's power. In the lightning sea of creation, Feng Zichen could not do anything to the World Devastator Taoist. But after leaving the lightning sea of creation, all the lightning was under the control of the divine embryo of 9 heavens. Feng Zichen naturally had a way to stop the World Devastator Taoist. Walking out from the void, Feng Zichen looked at the intertwined innate divine thunder in the void. He had arrived at the 7th level of the Leizhe. Taking out the Hongmeng Daozhong, Feng Zichen was about to continue tearing open the void to rush to the next level of the Leizhe when the chaos bead in his psyche ocean suddenly rushed out. The chaos bead spun in the air for a moment before smashing into a place where the innate divine thunder gathered. With a loud boom, the innate divine thunder exploded, revealing a bead surrounded by lightning. This is... In a flash, Feng Zichen arrived before the bead and reached out for it. The bead shone slightly and its origins appeared in his mind. Innate lightning spiritual bead, an upper-grade innate spiritual treasure with 36 innate divine seals. No wonder the 7th level of the leisure exploded, it was nurturing this treasure. Throwing the innate lightning spiritual bead into the chaos bead, Feng Zichen was excited. Devouring this treasure would not only repair the damage to the chaos bead, it would also bring it one step closer to becoming a supreme-grade innate spiritual treasure. The chaos bead trembled for a moment and devoured the innate lightning spiritual bead. The dim bead shone brighter and the aura of Tao around it became denser. Holding it in his hand, the 38 innate divine seals shone brightly and it had become a supreme-grade innate spiritual treasure. Not bad. Not bad. The revival of the world tree has indeed boosted my luck. I can even find treasures on the way. At this rate, it won't be long before the chaos bead becomes a supreme-grade innate spiritual treasure. Feng Zichen was overjoyed by the chaos bead's upgrade and his gloominess was greatly alleviated. Fearing that the world devastator Taoist would break free from the lightning sea and chase after him, Feng Zichen did not dare to stay any longer. He kept the chaos bead and rushed to the next level of the leisure. Ding, ding, ding. The Hongmeng Daozhong kept ringing as it carried Feng Zichen through the void and rushed out of the leisure. Bastard! Damn you! In the lightning sea, the world devastator Taoist was trapped by the destructive divine chains and could not break free. He was furious and cursed loudly. Listen to my orders. Seal the exit of the leisure and don't let anyone escape. After a while, the world devastator Taoist calmed down and took out the 12th grade Black Lotus of Destruction. Through the Z-Lotus, he ordered the demonic sect elites under him. In an instant, the demonic sect elites who were hiding around the leisure revealed themselves and released their powerful divine senses to seal off the leisure. In the first level of the leisure, Feng Zichen heaved a sigh of relief when he felt the powerful divine senses passing by from time to time. Fortunately, the Shen sect was powerful now and the demonic sect elites like Daluo Jingxian did not dare to show themselves in the Eldritch Wilderness. Those who could come to this place were all Tai Jingxian demonic cultivators. Otherwise, Feng Zichen would not be able to escape even if he had wings. Although the Tai Jingxian demonic cultivators were a little troublesome, Feng Zichen was confident that he could break free from their blockade. He took out the chaos bead and walked out of the leisure. Who's there? The Tai Jingxian demonic cultivators around noticed that someone had walked out of the leisure and rushed over to surround Feng Zichen. Chapter 72. Nice to meet you. Looking at the group of primordial unity golden immortals in front of him, Feng Zichen did not panic at all. He greeted them with a smile. Your sacred envoy Black Lotus asked me to bring you a gift from the Thunder Lake. Black Lotus Saint. What gift? Hearing Feng Zichen's words, the Tai Jingxian were stunned for a moment before they quickly asked. They were not afraid that Feng Zichen would play any tricks on them. After all, he was just a golden deity. If he could do anything to a group of Tai Jingxian, their lives would be in vain. Their millions of years of cultivation had all been for naught. Feng Zichen paused for a moment before he took out the chaos bead and threw out hundreds of Tai Jingxian thunder essence at them. Shit. Fall back. Sensing the power of the thunder essence, the Tai Jingxian that surrounded Feng Zichen quickly ran away. These thunder essence came in different shapes and sizes. When Feng Zichen was in the 6th level of the Luais, he captured them with the chaos bead. They were already on the verge of exploding but were suppressed by the chaos bead. Now that the chaos bead was no longer there, the thunder essence exploded. Its power was so strong that it caused the dimension to disintegrate. Although the Tai Jingxian were fast, the thunder essence was faster. It caught up with them in a matter of seconds and continued to rain down on them. As for Feng Zichen, the moment he threw out the godly thunder inheritance, he had already hidden in the chaos bead and rapidly fled into the distance. Bastard! These primordial Unity Golden Immortals were trying their best to fend off the attacks of the Thunder of Innate, so they were unable to stop Feng Zichen. They could only watch him leave. Burning with rage, they threw their heads back and roared. "Ha! Do you like the gift that your Black Lotus Saint Envoy prepared for you?" A voice came from afar, which almost made the almighty immortals present vomit blood. "No matter where you run to, I won't rest until you die." One of the Tai Jingxian cultivators was angered by Feng Zichen's words and was struck by the innate 5 elements divine lightning. Immediately, the 5 qi in his body went out of balance and he started coughing blood. "Ha! You speak as if you can find me." Feng Zichen shook his head and didn't care at all. Be it the Chaos Bead, Khanate Merit, Hongmeng Daozhong, or the World Tree, they all had the ability to hide from the heavenly secrets. Not to mention, he still had Pangu's concealment. How could a few mere primordial immortals divine his information? After determining the direction in the air, Feng Zichen steered the Chaos Bead and flew east. After leaving the human race for such a long time, it was time for him to return and pass down the innate 8 trigrams to strengthen the human race. When Feng Zichen returned to the human race, Taoist Xianxia led Xianxia to Mount Kunlun. In Mount Kunlun, there were strange rocks on the Pill Cliff and strange cliffs. On the Pill Cliff, there were 2 phoenixes crying. In front of the cliffs, there was a qilin lying alone. There were also Xian apes offering fruits, moose holding flowers, Qing Wan dancing, colorful phoenix crying, spirit tortoise holding longevity, immortal crane capturing Ganoderma, jade grass and strange flowers never wilting, green pine and green cypress everlasting. There were bursts of celestial light and dense Taoist rhythms. There were countless strange flowers and strange fruits. There was even chaos vital qi that fell from the sky and scattered among the peaks. It was indeed worthy of being the second most famous mountain in the Eldritch world, the location of the ancestral veins of the East. When Xianqing and Taoist Xianxia ascended Mount Kunlun, Taoist Taiqing and Taoist Yuqing had been waiting for a long time. "Come, Xianqing, come and greet your 2 uncles." Taoist Xianxia quickly pulled Xianqing and walked in front of them when he saw Taoist Taiqing and Taoist Yuqing. "This is your uncles." Taoist Xianxia introduced the elderly Taoist to Xianqing. Xianqing sensibly went forward and greeted, "Greetings, uncles." Then, Taoist Xianxia pointed to the middle-aged Taoist and introduced, "This is your second uncles." Xianqing sensibly greeted, "Greetings, second uncles." After introducing Taoist Taiqing and Taoist Yuqing to Xianqing, Taoist Xianxia proudly showed off to his 2 elder brothers. "Big brother, second brother, what do you think of the disciple that poor Wei accepted?" Taoist Taiqing smiled but did not say anything. Taoist Yuqing nodded in satisfaction and said with a slight smile, "Not bad, he is a promising talent." In the Xianxing Palace, Xianqing first bowed respectfully to the 3 pure ones. Then, he sat cross-legged on the cattail hassock and quietly waited for the 3 pure ones' instructions. "Xianqing, today, you are under the tutelage of poor Wei. You are my first disciple and the first person in the 3rd generation of Xian sect. From now on, you must wholeheartedly cultivate the great Tao and pass down our Xian sect's orthodoxy. You must set an example for the future disciples of Xian sect. You must not commit crimes and disturb the order of the world." Taoist Xianxing, who was seated above Xianqing, said to him with a serious expression, "I will work hard to cultivate and attain Tao as soon as possible. I will not disgrace the dignity of Xian sect." After listening to Taoist Xianxing's admonition, Xianqing immediately expressed his stance. The first disciple of Xian sect. He did not expect that the 3 pure ones had not accepted a disciple yet, and he was given this identity. In the future, when he went out, he would consider himself as a disciple of Xian sect. It would be much more stylish than being a disciple of the 3 religions. "Very good, I will pass this formula to you. You should practice it well." Just when Xianqing's imagination was running wild, Taoist Xianxing pointed with his finger. A ray of Xianxing's celestial light flew out and landed on Xianqing's forehead. It was the Xianxing celestial technique. This item is called the Sea-Calming Divine Pearl. It can capture people and objects. It can also emit 5-colored light and dazzle the 5 senses of the enemy. I got it from the treasure-snatching rock. Take it and refine it to protect yourself. Then, Taoist Xianxia took out a string of pearls and handed it to Xianxia. Thank you, master. Xianxia was overjoyed and quickly bowed. Although it sounded unpleasant, wasn't the purpose of his apprenticeship the Sea-Calming Divine Pearl? Now that he had achieved his goal, he was naturally overjoyed. After doing all this, Taoist Xianxia looked at his 2 elder brothers with a smile. Taoist Xianxia smiled and pointed at Taoist Xianxia. With a wave of his hand, a ray of Tai Ching celestial light flew out and landed in Xianxia's mind. I will pass this Tai Ching celestial technique to you. You should comprehend it well. Taoist Yuqing also smiled and passed down the Yuqing celestial technique with a wave of his hand. Now that the 3 pristines had not become saints and there was no ideological conflict, their relationship was very close. Since Taoist Xianxia had accepted a disciple, they naturally had to express their gratitude. Thank you, Uncle Masters. Xianxia stepped forward and expressed his gratitude. It's not that the poor way is stingy and is unwilling to give you a spiritual treasure. It's just that your cultivation is too low. Even if they give you a spiritual treasure, you won't be able to refine it. Instead, it will drag down your cultivation. The loss outweighs the gain. When your cultivation improves, the poor way will give you a spiritual treasure. Taoist Yuqing explained to Xianxia with a smile. Uncle Master, you must be joking. Xianxia is already very satisfied with 2 celestial techniques. How would I dare to ask for a spiritual treasure? Xianxia smiled bitterly and shook his head. All right, since 3rd brother has accepted a disciple, he must have a lot to say. We should leave first and not disturb them. With that, Taoist Tai Ching pulled Taoist Yuqing and left. Chapter 73. In the Xianxia Palace, after Taoist Tai Ching and Taoist Yuqing left, Taoist Xianxia chanted the incantation of the Great Tao and preached the Great Tao of Xianmen to Xianxia, opening up the true meaning of the clear spirit. In a split second, flowers fell from the sky and golden lotuses emerged from the ground. Celestial music echoed in the air. Boundless enlightenment of the Great Tao floated into Xianxia's mind, helping him to comprehend the 3 purities Tao formula. 300 years later, a green auspicious cloud rose from the top of Xianxia's head. It was about an acre in size and was shining with celestial light. The 12th grade purifying white lotus, the 9 heavens celestial seal, and the Sea-Calming Divine Pearl flew out from his body one after another and landed in the auspicious cloud. They were faintly discernible as they endured the tempering of the celestial light. Then, 3 celestial lights appeared on Xianxia's body. One of them was the Tai Ching celestial light, one was pure and holy, the Yuqing celestial light, and one was bright and green, the Supreme Qing celestial light. After the 3 pure celestial lights appeared, they began to chase after him. With a deep shout, Xianxia activated all the mana in his body and pressed it against the 3 clear celestial light. Under the suppression of this force, the 3 pure heavenly lights stopped moving. Then, they gathered into a ball and merged with each other. A buzzing sound was heard. The 3 pure celestial lights completely disappeared and turned into a ray of pure light. Although this light was born from the 3 clear celestial light, it did not have a noble quality or a dignified appearance. It was different from the 3 clear celestial light. This light was vast and indistinct, pure and without substance. It was like the blue sky, formed from the pure energy of the heavens. After it was born, Xianxia shuddered. His aura surged as he stepped into the perfected golden immortal realm. If it were not for Taoist Xianxia's presence, Xianxia would have had a breakthrough to the Tai Jingxian state on the spot. Good. Very good. Taoist Xianxia repeatedly cheered as he looked at the immortal light on Xianxia's body. A moment later, he asked again, "Does this light have a name?" This light was born from the innate clear qi, and since the innate clear qi evolved into the 9 heavens, this light shall be called the 9 heavens immortal light. Xianxia replied after some thought. 9 Heavens Celestial Light? That's a pretty good name. Taoist Xianxia muttered to himself and nodded. He then sighed. Indeed, compared to the Poor Way and the other two, you are more suited for the innate clear spirit Tao. Master, what do you mean? Xianxia was puzzled. The 3 pure ones had dozens of times more primordial clear qi than he did. Therefore, how could he see that he was more suitable for the path of innate clear spirit than them? Cultivating the Tao of primordial purity and turbidity can only be accomplished when one is extremely refined and pure. Under the influence of Pangu's nascent divinity, the 3 of us have long deviated from the Tao of innate clear spirit. But you are different. The innate clear qi in your body is incomparably pure, without a trace of impurities. In the future, you will definitely be able to achieve the innate clear spirit Tao with this. Taoist Xianxia explained to the puzzled Xianxia. Gently tapping on the 9 Heavens Tao light, Taoist Xianxia could feel the innate Tao rhythm contained within it. Taoist Xianxia was very happy. Seeing that you have obtained the 3 purities Tao formula, I was worried that you would be addicted to it. Now, it seems like I worried too much. As he spoke, Taoist Xianxia's tone turned solemn. Xianxia, you must remember that the path of great Tao that you walk on your own is the best. No matter how good or strong someone else's path is, that's still someone else's path. If you walk on someone else's path of great Tao, wouldn't you be living in his shadow for the rest of your life? If that's the case, even if you become Daluo Jingxian, what's the fun in that? I understand. Hearing Taoist Xianxia's words, Xianxia deeply agreed. Without a pioneering spirit, how could one attain the supreme great Tao? It's good that you understand. Next, you shall stay here and cultivate properly. Comprehend the Tao of innate clear spirit contained within the 3 purities Tao formula and strive to comprehend the Tao formula that belongs to you as soon as possible. Within 10,000 years, I and your 2 uncles will not leave Mount Kunlun. If there's anything you don't understand, feel free to ask us. As he spoke, Taoist Xianxia's figure gradually faded. By the time he finished speaking, his figure had completely disappeared. Facing the direction where Taoist Xianxia disappeared, Xianxia bowed before sitting down cross-legged and immersing himself in the comprehension of great Tao. After coming out from the Thunder Lake, Feng Zichen felt that the restraints on his body had disappeared. The space was like a doll that he could manipulate freely without any hindrances. His prowess had greatly improved, and his mastery of the Tao of time and space had reached a new level. In the next moment, Feng Zichen's body merged with the void. In a flash of purple light, he passed through the layers of void and rushed towards the eastern sea. In just a few hundred years, he had returned to the human territory. Presumptuous! How dare the Xianxia clan do this? As soon as he stepped into the human ancestral temple, Feng Zichen heard the angry voice of the Zhou clan. His heart thumped, and he immediately understood the whole story. He quickly quickened his pace and ran towards the main hall. Chao Huang, please calm down. This is their own choice. Why do you have to stop them? Feng Zichen came to the front of the Zhou clan and persuaded in a low voice. Zichen is back. Seeing Feng Zichen, a Zhou clan member said tiredly, "It's all because of my incompetence. It's only been 1,000 years since I took over the human race, and the human race has become a pile of loose sand. It's not Chao Huang's fault. It's Zichen's fault that led to today's disaster. It's all Zichen's fault." Seeing that the Zhou clan member was dispirited, Feng Zichen quickly blamed himself. After dividing the human race into several tribes, it was indeed easier to manage. But not long after, all kinds of problems were exposed. Between 2 neighboring tribes, there would be disputes due to various problems. For example, this time, the Xianxia clan and the Shi clan had a huge battle because of the competition for the prey. Because of this, the Zhou clan called the leaders of the 2 clans over and gave them a harsh scolding. The Xianxia clan was so angry that they left the eastern sea with their clansmen overnight. They rushed towards the east of the wilderness, hoping to establish a foothold there. Suddenly, a golden immortal ran over and said to Chao Huang, reporting to Chao Huang, after knowing that the Xianxia clan has left, The Shi clan is also making a fuss about leaving. Should we stop them? What? Why do they want to leave? A Chou clan member asked in shock. I don't know where the rumor came from, but it said that the Xianxia clan was forced to leave by the Shi clan. In order to prove their innocence, the Shi clan has also decided to leave the ancestral land, that person replied. After a long while, a Chou clan member was speechless. They are all spoiled, let them go. Also, other than those who have yet to become immortals, let those who want to leave as well. None of you are allowed to stop them. Seeing that the Chou clan member was silent, Feng Zichen said coldly. Understood. Feng Zichen's prestige in the human race was not inferior to the 3 ancestors of the human race. That person only hesitated for a moment before leaving to carry out the order. Zichen sighed. Looking at Feng Zichen, a Chou clan member wanted to say something, but no words came out of his mouth. He could only sigh deeply and keep his mouth shut. When Feng Zichen's order was spread, there was an uproar in the outside world. Many Tai Jingxian came out of their seclusion and rushed towards the ancestral temple. Nonsense. This is nonsense. A group of Tai Jingxian stormed into the main hall angrily. You're tuning in to the Wandering Hero YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.